What is going on, fight fans? We are so happy to have you in tonight, not only because we have a lot of fun to preview 13 fights coming from UFC London, but because, Matty, for the third time in under 6 months, the boys did it again. A long shot parlay came home. This is the second of a cycle nature, Matty. It's been all over social media. It's been all over all sorts of celebration. I got to ask you now, 6 days or 5 days, I should say, 5 days removed from that. What are your thoughts on last week's cycle? What was going through your mind? How you felt? What aura shifted as we placed it, and what you have for an encore, I guess, as well.
All right, so I don't even know where to start right now, but I'm gonna start right here. The decision leg as the last leg is obviously the scariest, right? Especially in a 5-round event, because you got to sweat 25 minutes. You got to root for your fighter to do very well, but not too well, right? So that's number one. Number two, when you go to the scorecards, you're not really that it's different, right? If you win the last leg on a crazy knockout or crazy submission, the win feels bigger, better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you win the last leg on a decision, obviously all that matters is winning the parlay. I get that. But when you win the last leg on the decision, it's like you're 99% sure you're hitting, right? Unless it's a close fight. And it just wasn't the same as hitting the one in December. That Hamzat by sub was the last leg in December. That was absolutely electric, right? Because we were at Hard Rock, crazy first round, fast tap from Whitaker, ran to the counter. This one, although I'm obviously very happy and glad that we all hit it, it was still a little. It felt different. But this week, bro, and the craziest part, Austin, is we should have went back to back, dude.
Yeah.
Last week, still, I'm not trying to sound greedy or mad or look at the negative, but I'm just disappointed about the Vegas card that I was in person at, because if that last leg would have hit. And I was looking back at some of our cycles and some of our plays and videos, and we've missed on the last leg 2 or 3 times now, and including last weekend, and we're right where we need to be, bro. I think we figured out the formula. There's times me and you disagree on some legs. Like I think people are going to see that this week. I think Austin and I are ready to admit, like it's in the interest of the viewership, but we do talk a little bit more now. What do you think about that? Like we originally were like, oh, we don't like to talk at all before the Thursday show. Now I think it's better. I think it's better for everyone that we talk a little over text. We come on the show and we're a little bit more informed and on the same page. And I'm feeling this cycle this week. I posted on YouTube already. I posted on Instagram. It's a big long shot one. I feel good about it. I think Austin and I are aligned on most of the legs, and we'll talk through that as we get through the card here. But all in all, the vibes are good. I feel good. I want to say one thing before we start.
Yeah.
I'm very confident that this cycle is going to be live this weekend, but I want everyone out there to remember that these cycle hits have been 3 months apart. So the people that are DMing me saying, I know it's all funny and jokes, but like the people DMing saying they're putting their rent on it, they're doing this, they're doing that. Bro, the chances of hitting a back-to-back cycle, what's the implied on that? On a 26-1 and then a 46-1 or 44? It's very tough. So again, I am very confident. I feel great about it. I think Austin feels great about 2 of the 3 legs. But in all seriousness, we like to have fun. We like to joke. But you guys do need to actually be responsible there, because this parlay is a 40. I got it at 44-1, bro. That's if that hits 1 out of 40 times, it's profitable. But do not bet the farm on a 44-1, no matter how good I or anybody else feels about it. Yeah. I'll shut up now. Turn it over to Austin.
Okay, first of all, because I don't want to be the show that celebrates wins, but I want to say congratulations to you, because you were the one who formulated that. You were the one who put the money down on it. And, we would love to come on here every single week and have a parlay, a cycle format that we are both aligned on like that. And that's the way it was for the Hamzat, Jeff Neal, and Ismail Nardiev one. That's the way it was last week, where we were just all in from the start. It doesn't happen every week. And this week was like a good example of it. I don't think your cycle is dumb whatsoever. In fact, I agree very strongly with a couple of legs, and then I can see the third. So that's the formula for the cycle, is that, hey, are we doing smart things? Are we making smart decisions? I think at the number you got all 3 props at, I think you made a good decision. And I so agree with you. I think the number one number one thing that I want to say is responsible gaming. Never, ever, ever go all in on multiple long shot parlays. Matty and I aren't
any bet in general, bro.
Yeah, we are a long-term show.
Sport, yeah.
Where we've now hit 3 parlays in excess of 25 to 1 in 6 months. We may very well go 18 without. That's kind of the nature of doing this in the long run. And I maxed out. Okay, enough with the jokes.
I got one last thing to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I used to say 1 cycle a year and you're profitable.
Yep.
That's no longer true on a 26 to 1, obviously, but it's very close to where you need to be, right? There's what? 40? What is there? 40 some cards a year?
Yeah.
What is it? 45 probably? There's probably like 4 to 7.
I feel like there's more than 7 off weeks in the season.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. I know December's like 3 alone, and then let's call it 42, right? Let's say there's 10 off weeks. I don't know what the number is.
Sure.
A 26 to 1 puts us getting close to break even. We need to hit one more, call it a conservative cycle, to be up money or in the green. But typically my cycles are bigger than 20. And again, I'm not targeting a specific odd anymore, bro. I think that's a mistake when we do that. It's like, what do we like? Mm-hmm. We target each leg of the cycle before the odds come out anywhere, right? And then we check the odds and see that the number is good enough on each leg, and then we dial it up. But enough talking. Let's dive into the card.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's. So why don't we do that? We'll dive into the 13 fights and we'll try to find some great props, whether or not they all come together in a cycle or not. Not promising, but hey, we'll keep moving here because I love doing this show more than anything. Because there were a lot of non-cycle legs that I got from this show last week that went really, really well. Josie Nunez in my cycle parlay wasn't
Austin,
one of them.
Bro, I'm gonna give him the mic, not to interrupt you, but Austin, I can't even believe I haven't said this yet. Austin had a historic week of profit. He needs to be less humble and brag about himself right now, because I might have hit the cycle and a big number, but what really is important in this space is the plays that you give others. The actual ROI and net profit is what's important. And Austin had a historic week. How many units did you make last week? And most importantly, guys, join the Discord. It's a free Discord for Austin and I's picks. Hey Jive and Nolan's are paid, but me and Austin's are free. So go join the Home of Fight Discord. Before we start the show, tell the people how many units you made last week, bro.
Well, we were up 23.5 units. I will say 10 of that.
We bet small units. That's a fucking massive week.
Yeah. It was nice I think more than anything, it was nice to erase the deficit that I've had in 2025 so far, because I feel like I've been so close and I've had a lot of crappy breaks, and it's good to see that. And I got to give you credit. 10.2 units of that was the cycle. I tracked for very small 0.4 units or so. But and by the way, I will track the cycle again this week because I believe in you. And actually, I just ran the math on the leg we disagree with. It's closer than you think from the model this week.
And
so
the last question I want to ask you.
Okay.
Do you remember the specific week last year we started the cycle? Because I know the Whitaker, the one that I hit, the Hamzat by sub, I want to say that was like 2 or 3 weeks into the cycle. Am I wrong or am I right or wrong?
No, the very first time we did the cycle, it hit with Whitaker and Hamzat. That was the very first time we did it.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I didn't remember any losses on it before, but I was like, I had to lost once or twice before. But that's what made the cycle so big, is like the first one we put out smacked.
We had just been doing this unstructured long shot parlay. Sometimes we do inside the distance. Sometimes we did the double submission with Ryan Spann and Court McGee.
I love those too, by the way.
I always like structure. Like, I like going back to the same type of formulas and looking for the same type of things. Been a bit since I had like a decision lay and things like that, but yeah, I think that it's a good formula for us, and we're a prop show. That's why we do it on Thursdays. That's why we look at FanDuel, which has a lot of the great odds for props and things of that nature. We'll go through FanDuel's odds here on this week and stop talking about last week, because this is a what have you done for me lately business. And if you tailed any of my March Madness picks on action, I'm very, very sorry, because it has not been a good Thursday.
Odds are not off to a good start either, by the way.
Matty, the Bryant Bulldogs tomorrow outright. As whatever they are.
I got them already. I just don't remember the number.
Plus 1160 it was on FanDuel when I tracked it on Wednesday.
I will bet one straight bet. We have to move on, get to the show, but
yeah,
I will bet one straight bet the whole tournament, because as you guys know, I just take the dog money lines the whole way. I am taking Robert Morris on the point spread tomorrow, 22.5.
Sure.
I've heard some very good things internally about how good this team is and how competitive they should be against Alabama. So I'll shut up. Let's get on to the show. But if you guys are looking for a -110 bet for tomorrow, Robert Morris on the point spread, I will be hammering that here.
March hasn't been very mad so far. Maybe we get some 15.
It's been boring today, bro. But let's get to the show. We're killing the people.
All right. Jake, if you could throw the slides up there, and we'll dive in here with the 13th fight on the card at lightweight, and it is a good one with a couple of good lightweights right out of the chute here. Garam Kutateladze taking on Kawe Fernandes, and this one's got a wide money line here. Kutateladze, no stranger to being a heavy favorite. He's -460 in this spot over Fernandes, coming off a knockout of name slips me at this moment, but it was a guy it wasn't very high on. But Matty, some initial thoughts on these guys, because both of them multi-time.
Muhammad Yahya.
Yes, that's right. The weird stuff going on in the United Arab Emirates there with his roster signing. But now this is a big boy fight for Fernandes. What do you think about him against Kutateladze as a +320 dog?
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit wide here. First of all, I want to ask you, do you think Garam should have won or lost his last fight?
I thought it was 1-1 going into the last round, and then I think Kutateladze was able to stymie him with his wrestling, and Vucenic ran out of steam. I thought 29-28 either way was an acceptable score, but I thought Garam did just enough.
That's fair. Yeah, I think this line's a little bit wide. I really don't love any plays on this fight. I do think the line is a little bit wide here and would lean dog or pass, but Garam's just a hard guy to read, in my opinion. The Elvis Brenner fight was kind of eye-opening, but Elvis Brenner's just a dog. He's going to outdog most guys that he fights in a dog fight. So it's just – but, like, Garam has some solid wins too, like some decent wins, in addition to the last fight. And then the level of competition has been good too. So I agree he should be a significant favorite, but I think it's a little bit steep.
Yeah, Garam definitely. It's been a weird trajectory for him where he got that marquee split decision against Gamrot, even though Gamrot much better fighter. I have more than a lean toward a dog or pass situation. I've really been. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Andre Lima side. It was a great week and a lot of different.
Phenomenal week for Homa Fight picks. Hey Jive is as consistent as it gets. Our premium guy crushes it. He had a phenomenal week. Nolan, our premium guy, crushed it. Bro, we had Andre Lima sub. I had heavyweight Acosta round 2-3.
Oh, yes, you did.
+410. We had some great straight bets too. It kind of got overshadowed by the cycle, but what a card for the year for us this week.
How about this? I had 2 units. Chidi and Joe Kwani came home. Now
you were dead right about that one, bro.
It's funny. We split last week's fights.
It was terrible.
We were split on Cortez Acosta Span. You were right about that one. We were split on Joe Kwani dos Santos. I was right on that one, and that's why I love doing this show. Is because we get a different perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
And can feel that. But I like Fernandes here. I think I'm going to take a shot at 3-1. The obvious concern is that he spends a lot of his fight on his back. Right, he gave up 3 takedowns to Mark Jacasey over 8 minutes in control time. Yeah. Only 62% takedown D thus far. But Garam is not this super strong wrestling candidate. Just 0.77 takedowns per 15 minutes, 20% accuracy. So he's only landing 1 in 5 takedowns he shoots. Has Fernandes' takedown defense has improved? I will say Jacasey's a guy that I think many are low on, but he is a very good wrestler. He's very good with his double legs. He's very good with his trips. I don't feel like Kutateladze is the same sort of strength as a wrestler. And on the feet, Fernandes is nasty. 57% striking accuracy, 66% defense. We saw the power against Muhammad Yahya. Genius game plan from him to just kick Yahya's leg out in that last fight. I don't think that same easy path to victory will be there against Garam. But I'm leaning like Fernandes points in a fight where maybe Kutateladze sells out for the wrestling. We've seen a questionable gas tank from him, and Fernandes is a guy that absolutely can work the body. He can definitely have success on the feet. So I like Fernandes as a small dog shot, but a guy's like as good as Garam, I never feel good about unloading the clip against.
Yeah. Do you like Garam's chin? Because it's kind of
iffy. That Brenner fight was weird.
Confusing and streaky. This fight, I don't have much of a read on him, to be honest. It's obviously staying far away from the cycle, and it's just very wide, so I don't really I don't even like any props in this fight, so I'm probably going to stay away from it altogether.
Yeah, no, definitely I'm staying away. Safe parlay here. Garam points plus 100, him knockout plus 280, Fernandes points 8-1. Very interesting to me. And then
interesting. That's the only one I'm actually interested in.
Yeah. And then Kutateladze, a little bit of submission equities plus 800, doesn't have an attempt in UFC. That's why it is just weird. It's
2.5 minus 175. It's like I would look to play that, but even that's a little chalky.
Yeah. To me, the over in this fight is a very good thing for Fernandes. I know there's this narrative he might spend the whole fight on his back, but if it is indeed a wrestling heavy strategy, we've seen judges get crazy when it comes to like control versus striking. Sam Hughes last week, we saw weird decision.
By the
really
way,
valued her grappling.
Remember when I joked about Sam Hughes round 2-3 and it was like 30-40 to 1 per round?
Yeah, and she almost finished round 2.
Round 2. It was so in there. I was like kicking myself for not playing it while she locked it in. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, I was like, I would have hated life if I had that bet there and she didn't get that. I thought it was so under the chin. I couldn't believe she didn't get that.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I also forgot we both liked Kurt Holobaugh. Really tough decision against us. It's all these things got lost in the aftermath of the cycle last week.
Yeah.
I knew that card was going to be fun for betting, and I think similarly, this one is probably more fun for betting than it is to watch. And this will be a good example. I am going to start the card Fernandes small, and if you're staying away, I can't blame you. So why don't we move on? Mm-hmm. We'll move on to this next fight here up on the card. I don't know how this one got precedence over that one, but Nathan Fletcher coming off the Ultimate Fighter. I don't think it was actually an Ultimate Fighter sanctioned fight. He just beat a guy from the show as well in a UFC debut because they both had struggled with injuries. It was Zigomantas Ramaska was the guy that he ended up submitting in round 2. And then Keelan Loughran, really odd, interesting career where he was billed as this top Irish prospect from Cage Warriors, had that weird opponent switch on days' notice. Taylor Lapalus was no cupcake, and then big favorite against Jake Hadley, wasn't able to get that done in Hadley's bantamweight debut. So now all of a sudden he's a slight dog to Fletcher. These guys actually fought before in 2018. Lots of wrinkles to this one. What do you think about the matchup?
I like Nathan Fletcher here. Actually, I like him a good bit, truthfully. I'm looking at the decision prop here.
Okay.
And I even considered it for the cycle. Obviously didn't make it. But plus 175. It is the most favored outcome here. But I just think Loughran is a guy that is going to get outclassed, but he is durable. He's never been put away.
Yeah.
I don't love the loss to Jake Hadley for him, and I think that Fletcher can get this one done on the scorecards.
Yeah, I have a weird, unique angle that, of course, isn't backed by data because there isn't very much of it here.
Right.
I like Loughran early knockout in this fight. I really do. He was this guy that was built in a lot of KOs, and like Fletcher is a guy when I see him trying to strike,
450.
It's definitely trying to mix in his grappling more than it is trying to score points there. And Loughran, I think, with his build, it's tightly compact, super powerful. Lapalus, amazing head defense. Jake Hadley, amazing head defense. Really hard guys to get offense off on. I don't think that's going to be the case here with Fletcher. And I know they fought in amateurs long ago. It was like 6 years ago. Both of them well into a development window where they're in their late 20s. I think they're
4-1 and 6-1. So 12 combined fights between the two of them when they fought. So I don't know how much stock you can put into that fight.
And honestly, I think it influenced the early money line, but now we've seen this come a little bit back toward Loughran. It was plus 120 on Sunday. It's actually minus 108. It's even closed a little bit since we pulled.
Who opened as the favorite? Was it
Fletcher? It was Fletcher.
Really? Okay.
Well, he won the AM fight, so that wasn't surprising to me. But I like Loughran and Fletcher, by the way, 40% striking defense in his debut. It's just that Zigomantas Ramaska couldn't stay at distance. I feel good about Loughran's takedown defense. He hasn't been taken down in UFC yet, and his build to me is that of a guy with good takedown defense. So, we're kind of playing percentages here. I got Loughran at plus 120, so I got a much better number that's on the board right now. Yes. And I think I want to sprinkle early KO here. It's just a gut feeling more than anything. This guy, he tries to do his best Conor McGregor impression. You better start getting some of those early KOs on the board if you're going to do it. So who knows?
I mean, I would almost take plus 120 on either guy in this matchup. Like plus 120 is a good number here and a very close fight. I mean, I do lean Fletcher as the pick.
Yeah.
plus 120 is a good number in this type of matchup here.
One of those fights where I'm so happy to just download data. It's not a big bet on Loughran that I got down because we'll see how much you guys have changed and improved since their first fight. So, yeah, obviously, Matty, not debuting a cycle leg in this fight, so we'll move on. But, and by the way, Matty's already got the cycle locked in. I don't know if some of you guys missed it.
It's on the MattyBetss YouTube channel.
Yeah, you don't have to wait.
So I'm starting my new series. I've been, like, for a while now thinking about, like, what am I doing on YouTube? You know, obviously outside of these shows, like, the shows are great, but I just haven't had a YouTube strategy for my brand. And, like, I'm showing you guys the behind the scenes. It's 6 to 10 minute video every week. And if you guys want to see the cycle before it comes out everywhere else, you can watch the YouTube video. It's up right now. I literally talk about every leg more in depth than the short form videos. And then I go to the casino or go to the sports book and put it in. So if you guys want to check that out. Obviously, we're going to talk about the cycle on the show.
Flash that comment out there. You got a fan from Bet Sam. Fire video, guys. Peep it out. Well
done.
Thank
you, Bet Sam. Appreciate that, bro.
And it does sound fun.
My first cycle video, you know.
Behind the scenes of fading Austin.
My first non-short form cycle video. Obviously, I've done tons of vertical videos on them, but this is my first long form video on it. It's like 6-minute watch. You guys want to go check it out. Drop a like and subscribe, and you entered in the giveaway if it hits too.
You are an interesting enough gambler to have a video like that. I am not. So we will proceed forward. We'll proceed forward to our next fight up on the card here. How about women's strawweight? My God, Matty, look at this fight here. Shauna Bannon taking on Pooja Tomar. This is at the very bottom of strawweight here. Me, oh my. I mean, for whatever reason, this fight has divided gambling circles, but there's not a lot of experience and certainly not a lot of high-level experience in this fight. As we say right now, Bannon minus 170 on FanDuel, Tomar plus 138. So Shauna just outside prohibitive territory. It's kind of interesting, but she is the UK rep here. So what do you think about this matchup, Matty?
I'm dog all day here, bro. The UFC needs the Indian. The UFC needs some Indian blood here to bring the sport to India, bro. I think this girl's decent. I think she's decent. I think Bannon's decent too, but minus 186. Come on, bro. I can't touch that type of chalk in this fight. So by default, it's a dogger pass for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare that you can get the whole picture of someone's career from their Tapology page, but weirdly enough, with Pooja Tomar, you can. Like, she has fought even in some Muay Thai stuff with one championship because they do both MMA and Muay Thai. She's a very good striker. She put numbers out there on Rayan dos Santos. I actually thought it was much worse of a robbery than the box score would have indicated. She had a plus 11 striking differential against Dos Santos in her UFC debut. She got the nod. I thought that a little bit of it was because of the excessive showmanship and the yelling from her, but the numbers.
It works for Merab, bro. Merab, hey,
true.
All this stuff matters to the judges, bro. Everything you do in a fight means something to the judges at this point. Like, you have to get any edge that you can in these fights, the way that judges do the shit that they do. So I can't hate on it, bro. I just can't.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, I think I had this chat with Nolan, who's one of your guys that works for Home Picks, right? And we were talking about it. I think Rayan dos Santos would be Bannon's best opponent to date. We know some of Bruno Brazil's strengths and weaknesses, and then also Alice Ardley, my girl, right, really struggled in the striking department in that fight. Whereas I think if you give Tomar a fight where nobody's going to take her down, she's very, very dangerous. And we got a good comment about Dana has been talking about wanting to go to India, want to expand it out there. You touched on that as well. I think Pooja, relative to anybody we have on the men's side, is closer to the rankings in this division than maybe anyone else's. So I think Tomar's striking is legit. She's about almost exactly 2 significant strikes landed more per minute, so she's the more active fighter. And there seems to be a speed discrepancy as well. So I like Tomar. Obviously, we think points. I wonder what the total is going to be in this one, because it's probably
it's not open.
Over 2.5 minus 650. So it is hefty in order to go the distance. So you think Tomar?
Plus 410 on the under 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at that number, I almost feel like more Hughes sort of sprinkle like you had, where I can get Tomar round 2-3 KO at 26-1 and 31.
That number, you got to win 2 out of 10 of them, and you're really just barely profitable.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You say that out loud, and you're still so reluctant and hesitant. You're like, is that even enough value? It isn't, honestly.
Yeah, I wish I got better numbers like north of 40-1. I really do, but yeah, I mean, like I played one unit on Puja's money line at plus 150. I don't really want to get more invested in this fight. It's just we kind of know what it's going to look like. Maybe Bannon wins a robbery. Maybe she does, put more numbers out there than we've seen thus far. But we kind of know what it's going to look like, right?
Fair.
All right. So we'll move on, not have to talk about that fight and bore anybody with it. Into our next fight here at middleweight, Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Andre Pulaev, coming off a big upset on the Contender Series. That typically isn't something that I love to see, but Pulaev took on Liam Anderson, super seasoned guy. Thought it was kind of a free pass situation for him. Got the nod via decision, and our guy CLD, tough fight with RoboCop for him. We were both on RoboCop that night against CLD. Could mix it up a little bit better. CLD minus what do we got here on FanDuel officially right now? Because the numbers changed a little bit. He's minus 590 on FanDuel right now. That is the largest favorite on the card as we sit here at present. They love themselves an Englishman, guy with knockout potential, but Matty, is the price right here for Duncan in this spot?
Yeah, bro. I mean, obviously no interest in a money line shot here on either side for me personally.
Sure.
It's funny, bro. Like, what do you think my average amount of money line plays are on any given card? Like 2?
I think you play a couple. Yeah.
Bit of victory, round, prop USC better. Like, I despise money lines, dude. I just hate them. Not in sports betting, just specifically in MMA.
Yeah.
You know what it is. I just hate them. Like, I understand there's sharp individuals that find value on money lines, bet them early, 2 weeks in advance, whatever. Our show, the reason I love our show is because what other show on YouTube is talking on a Thursday or Friday and breaking down all the props that these guys want? Submissions, knockouts, decisions, over-unders, double chances. Like, that's why I like what we do on this show. And to me, I just don't have an interest in the majority of money lines on UFC. It's just my bet style. I don't know what it is. This fight's a prime example. Christian Leroy Duncan, I'll tell you one thing. The guy is a finisher.
Yep.
I mean, what does he have? He has 8 knockouts, 1 decision. And actually, if you want to play a dog shot here, Christian Leroy Duncan is 1-2 when fights go the distance. If you want to sprinkle on a crazy dog shot here, Andre by points plus 850. There's your opportunity on a dog shot. I'm not saying I like that, but I'm saying if it does go to the scorecards, maybe you do sprinkle on a plus 850 there in like a striking match here. Me personally, I feel like the Duncan KO feels very trappy at mine. It's minus 130 right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the first time I've seen this number because this number was not out most of the week. I don't know if it came on yesterday or today. I think probably today, honestly. But I feel like the minus 130 number is a little bit trappy. I almost like CLD by decision at nearly 3-1 odds here. But this isn't even a fight that I'm that interested in playing. It's definitely not making the cycle.
Yeah. We discussed it very briefly, but figured the number would be pretty hefty. But I think that
it would be heavier than minus 130 here.
Yeah, I did. I
in
did.
hindsight, like think about it. Mauricio Rufy minus 115 knockout on King Bobby Green with no chin.
Yeah.
It's like, do you prefer that bet or minus 130 here? Give me the Rufy. Hindsight's 2020, obviously, but we've been talking about this. There's been so many hammer spots on big favorites by a specific outcome. We talked about Chase Hooper by submission over, who was it, months ago? 6 months ago, probably now.
Clay Guida.
Chase Hooper, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 favorite, whatever the hell he was, by his most favorable outcome where most all of his finishes are against a guy that he grappled against and submitted in grappling was like minus 1 something, small 100s. What was it, minus 120?
Yeah.
By submission. We keep finding these hammer spots that every time they win, I'm like every gambler in the world. I'm like, why didn't we go bigger, right? Because it's so easy. Mauricio Rufy by KO, minus 115. But do you really look at this line at minus 130 and like, oh, that's a hammer spot? Because I just don't like it. I don't get the right vibe from it that I do on a Mauricio Rufy or a Chase Hooper or any of these big plays that I think are like, I would be blown away if they lost. Like, I don't look at that number on this fight and be like, oh, that's definitely a hit. And I just don't look at it that way.
Can I try to tap into your brain as to why? Like, I feel like you feel that because subliminally you think of CLD and you close your eyes with him. Goes to the second round with Dennis Tululin. Goes to the second round with Claudio Ribeiro. Had that fight with Armin Petrosyan that he lost that went the distance. So now we see Petrosyan makes mistakes, right? And then the Dusko Todorovic, you say he gets the KO in round 1. If you don't remember, Todorovic tore his knee up. That was not anything CLD did. That was on a takedown attempt. He messed his knee up. So
that's a great point.
I feel like it's because Pulaev regionally, he has a first round KO loss at distance. But like what we saw is that he was better than we thought on the Contender Series against Liam Anderson. Now, Anderson's not really a one-hitter quitter type of guy either. He's more of a grappler, more of a wrestle boxer. But when you anecdotally piece these sort of pieces together, you think to yourself, wait a minute, should Duncan CLD KO be minus 130? I think rather than playing KO, like honestly, you look at round 2-3 KO or round 2-3 in general, it's plus 450, plus 650, and then you take smaller stabs at that because he's just not a one-hitter quitter, and he's shown this tendency to be super patient, right? And I don't have any doubts here. He probably is going to be the more technical kickboxer. He's very, very good at distance. I'm just with you where it's like I can't go all in with this guy. I've seen too many lapses in urgency. I've seen lapses in grappling at certain points, and Pulaev was able to get a takedown on Anderson in the debut. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this was an upset. It's like I don't know why I don't want to pull the trigger on Pulaev if I say that, but it's a weird fight where I agree with dodging it out of the sight.
Bro, the more we keep talking about this fight and I'm looking at it, and look, what do we talk about? Taking skilled fighters by decision against durable guys.
Yeah.
CLD, 0 knockout losses, 0 losses by submission. Again, it is an absolute dart, and I would need to watch more tape tomorrow before I would even put a quarter unit on this shit or anything realistically. But that plus 850 number on this, if it does go to the cards, when CLD's 1 and 2 on decisions, now I do get it was RoboCop, but I don't like that Petrosyan loss. I really don't. And Claudio Ribeiro has shown that he can get chinned, and it's by mostly like elite, semi-elite, or elite strikers. So I get that. But he's been chinned multiple times, right? So and Dennis Tululin, same thing, right? The guy's 11 and 10 in MMA, 3 losses by KO. So he's putting away guys that he's supposed to put away, right? And I think that he's very overvalued here. Again, I'll say it one more time. I don't look at that minus 130 KO line and be like, oh, that's a hammer spot. The way that I've done recently, we've hit big on some of these hammer spots the last, 6 to 10 weeks. Like, they've been so easy. Usually when we have this type of vibe, or just the general gambling community has that type of confidence on some of these plays, they end up being traps, but they've just hit every time. It feels like the past 2-3 months, really dating back to that Chase Hooper fight last year.
Yeah.
There's been so many spots like that. Am I crazy to say that?
No,
you're not. Numbers in front of me. I'm just speaking from the mind here. But I feel like we've identified so many spots like in that minus 110 to minus 180 range for a fighter to win by a very specific outcome. I feel like we haven't missed on those in, like, knock on wood, in months. But I don't get that feeling from this fight right here. I prefer dog by decision or favorite by decision. But I'm definitely staying away from the finished props on either side.
Yeah, you used to be able to bet UFC a little bit more contrarian than I think you can now, because the setup spots are very, very real, Matty. Like there's a trend where Dana, especially trying to get the Contender Series off the ground, maybe they have something to do with the Ultimate Fighter. I thought that Curtis Blades fight that's now going to get rematched in Qatar, I think he wanted to embarrass PFL and Hernan Ferreira in one of those fights and make like Francis Ngannou's accomplishment maybe not look as good. But I think what I'm going to do, Matty, as soon as we hang up here, I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch Pulaev's fight against Anderson. If I feel good about his grappling, I think I'm going to take a dog shot, because the more we talk about
people are commenting, it seems to be popular. Right now, the number on FanDuel is 10-1.
For what?
Christian Leroy Duncan by submission. I know
Pulaev's got a better chance at subbing him than the other way around.
That one's 18-1. I know CLD does. I'm not familiar with this guy's grappling, but I know CLD does have a guillotine in his arsenal. He also has a key lock, a guillotine, a rear naked choke. and another guillotine back early on in his amateur days, early 2018 to 2020. He actually has more, in those 2 to 3 years, he is significantly more submission. He was a submission guy in amateur. He was a submission. CLD was a submission guy from September of 2018 all the way to June of 2019. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 wins by submission. Obviously, opposition and level of talent matters, right? I don't know what that looks like here, but I will say one thing: 10-1 there, and then 18-1 on the other side. You have to wonder if one of these guys are, their strategy is to grapple here a little bit.
I mean, the thing is that Duncan's level of competition has been so susceptible to that in UFC. Dennis Loughran gets subbed by everybody except RoboCop decided to punch him out instead. Armin Petrosyan, we've seen some of the ways he's been caught with by Vieira and Bruno Ferreira now in consecutive fights. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. He's got to show me in UFC. The tendency's just unfortunately not there, where he has one career takedown, no submission attempts. It probably would have called for it, and I feel like Pulaev is the stronger grappler here. So,
really,
yeah, I do. I like from what I remember.
Second fight we were texting earlier. That's the second fight where you're like, this guy's the stronger grappler than this guy, but then the odds makers will have the guy that you think is the worst grappler will have like 50% better odds or worse odds on the submission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's saying the odds makers don't agree with you, basically, when you're saying fighter A is a better grappler than fighter B. What's the other fight we talked about?
We'll get to it. It's the co-main event, but I actually think that's a much more wide open debate than this one. Okay. I really do feel like Pulaev is the better grappler. But and by the way, quit trying to catfish us into thinking Joe Rogan died. Yeah. I checked X. Quit it. Why are we trolling?
Just say so, bro. By the way, before we go into this fight,
sure.
Boys, we have 2,300 people on the live. It helps me a ton. If you guys are watching on Twitter or Facebook, please come over to YouTube, like and subscribe, and watch on YouTube. Better viewership experience. And you get notified when the Cycle Parlay is live, and you enter the giveaways. So leave Twitter, leave Facebook, come over to YouTube. Helps me a ton.
I wish I could enter the giveaways. That'd be nice. But enough on that, Matty. We talked about enough that week. All righty. Why don't we move on to this next fight? Because I got
one of the cycle is up. I have to rip a tequila shot for this one. I know you don't love this.
You spoiled it, dude. I was gonna put it up on a platter for you, and you burst.
The only reason I said something is because most people already know what my cycle is from posting today.
That's true. You've got an army of people waiting for that thing to drop. All right. Why don't we dive in? Because this is leg one of the cycle here. And it's an interesting betting line.
Two, by the way. I think these are out of order unless the fight shifted.
No, I've got this. Is the 9th fight. The other one's after.
I messed that up on the graphic then. You're right. It is the first leg. The second leg is up.
But that's a great question because this is for a ranked spot at heavyweight. Why is it buried so far on the prelims, especially when a guy like Mick Parkin, undefeated in UFC, he's got
the featured prelim.
Yeah.
This should be the featured prelim.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
He doesn't love Marcin Tybura for whatever reason.
Yeah, and Matty, beyond even a potential cycle leg here, which I'll have you tell the people in 1 second that don't know already, but this is a very interesting betting line fight because Mick Parkin was plus 110 on Sunday. He's now at favorite. He's minus 128, so this number changing a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very interesting and very rare you see UFC odds makers move the line so quickly before we even get to the weekend, before we get to weigh-in. So, Matty, people love themselves some Mick Parkin here. Unless you're going to shock some people that don't know already and go with Tybura, why do you love Mick Parkin and how in this fight?
All right, here's my I'm gonna run through this matchup in general. Okay, just so everybody knows, Austin and I slightly disagree on this fight. I think we're on the same side. I believe you like Mick Parkin here. I love the fact that I feel like some sharp money has come in on him. Move the number. He's becoming a bigger favorite. Marcin Tybura, 39 years old, right? I know that's not the oldest number in the world at the heavyweight, right? At the heavyweight weight class. But the guy's been through some damage. He's been through some wars. He's well-rounded. I think he's solid. He's a little bit undersized for heavyweight at 251. I'm literally playing the number here. I'm playing the number, I'm playing the momentum, and I'm playing the UFC's plan here. So it's the trifecta. Mick Parkin, a legit heavyweight at 265. I think he is good enough takedown defense. I think he's good enough power. Trains with Tom Aspinall, a guy that has put away Marcin Tybura in the first round. The guy's not Tom Aspinall. Let's get that out of the way. I don't see him coming out and steamrolling Marcin Tybura. But I do think an accumulation here, and I do think after round 1, he can get this guy out of there on the feet. And I think his ground and pound's good enough, even if he tags him and gets him to the ground. I think Mick Parkin's going to win by TKO here in round 2 or 3, probably midway through round 2. I understand the people that like Mick by decision here. He came into the UFC, rallied off some decisions, and I was texting Austin about this. Like, I think it's so important to look at the opposition when guys are getting knockouts, right? You have to look and say, okay, how good are these guys' chins? Have they aged? Are they older? Like, how much stock do we put into these knockouts, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with decisions. When you look at Mick Parkin, he didn't have a lot of hype because he's not fighting elite heavyweights, right? Jamal Pogues, a guy that everyone on this show, there's 2,500 people in here. I don't think one of you would argue Jamal Pogues is an elite heavyweight. Kaya Machado, same thing, a decent heavyweight. Muhammad Usman, a decent heavyweight. Probably not the greatest striker, a big, bulky guy. What do the three of them have in common?
Chins.
All three of them, one time they've been put away total between the three of them. They're very durable heavyweights. So, Mick Parkin comes into the UFC and gets 3 decisions after his Contender Series finish, right? Comes in, rallies off 3 decisions, kind of goes under the radar, and we're like, oh, this guy, he's a heavyweight, he's skilled, but he's not putting guys away, so he's under our radar. There's not a lot of hype behind him. Then, last fight, I fell for the trap. I think I had him by decision, or I think I had the over or something, right? We had the decision. Comes out, tags Lucas Bresky in round 1, finishes him 3 minutes into the round, right? And usually I don't like betting guys coming off of a knockout to then get a knockout because obviously usually the number's a little, the value's a little off because of that recency bias. But in this scenario, I look at the number, and by the way, I'm curious to see what it is right now.
It's plus 340 on FanDuel right now.
Where did I get? 375? I think.
Yeah, something.
So I got plus 375.
Yeah.
I got a legit sized 265-pound heavyweight fighting in his hometown, trains with a guy that knocked out his opponent, and has good momentum to get a knockout at nearly 4-1 odds. Sign me up for it. If this is the leg that loses, I will bow down to the sports book and say, take my money. But I can't sit here and act like I don't love the number. Same with leg 3 we'll talk about in a little.
Yeah.
Love the number. Love the fucking number. I'm going Big Mick Parkin by round 2 TKO. Leg 1 of the cycle by knockout.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said in that, like, Parkin fought a lot of durable guys coming into UFC. So has the knockout potential been there? I think why I backed Mick in all of his fights, and thankfully he's been infinitely profitable because he hasn't lost yet, right? But we'll see if he continues that. But the reason why I like him is because he brings some of the miniature features of Tom Aspinall, the speed, the well-roundedness. Like, he's not as good as Tom, but I think you definitely see those bits and pieces.
He's slower, less powerful.
Yeah.
But he's good. Like, when you look at the heavyweight division,
yeah,
the UFC is dying for somebody like down lower in the rankings, right? Yeah. He's not even ranked, right? Or is he?
No, this is 4th spot in the rankings.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, the heavyweight rankings are so ridiculous, bro.
They have been.
Cortez Acosta comes out, finishes a skilled Ryan Spann. Say what you want about Ryan Spann, but the guy's fucking dangerous. He can kill a lot of guys in the heavyweight division because think about what's his name said in the heavyweight division. He literally comes out and says, bro, heavyweights, we're just fat guys that have power, right? Who said that?
I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Derek Lewis or Tuivasa? I forget who said it. My point being, right, Mick Parkin is a guy that actually has skill at heavyweight. And I do like Marcin Tybura in general. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's good. I think he's a little undersized. He's up there in age. And this is a breakout spot for Big Mick Parkin.
Yeah.
Get it done. Bring me home. Tybura has been TKO'd. 3 times, 4 times? Let me take a peek here. 5 times. So,
he's got a lot of mileage.
The craziest one was that sub by Sergey Spivak. I still don't understand how the hell that happened in a heavyweight fight from that position. But we'll move on. Tom Aspinall, round 1 finished. I do hate the fact that he went to decision with Volkov. You probably like that for your decision angle. But the punchers, Augusto Sakai put him away in round 1. Shamil put him away in round 2. Derek Lewis round 3. So obviously Derek Lewis is what it is with that type of power. I just think I don't predict McParkin's going to come out and just drop this dude, right? I don't see that. But I do think that he can get him up against the cage, put the pressure on, stuff the takedowns, and an accumulation of damage has the opportunity to get this done. So I think this is my hardest leg of the cycle. Hopefully we're going to get the hardest leg done with as the first leg.
Yeah. I will say, Matty, I've got this the most likely finishing outcome in this fight. Parkin by KO, I've got it 15.6%. If you want to throw numbers on him, I've got decision plus 180. I've got
just under 16%, you said?
Yeah, 15.6, yeah.
So my value's cooked is what you're
saying. But that's okay. I've got decision plus 180. I've got KO plus 540, sub plus 750. So model says, hey, go sub decision, and then you gave me KO. But
my value is really bad per your model.
I'm not gonna go after you in that. I definitely think that there is a chin angle here, and there's a nutrition angle, and that's close enough.
I didn't even make the biggest point, and I'm just thinking about this now because I didn't even put it in my breakdown video. You guys got to remember the results and the stats don't tell the whole story. Austin, we didn't even talk about this. Mick Parkin, go look at his Tapology. Oh, a nice little ground and pound doctor stoppage versus Denise. Go watch the first round of the Denise fight. The guy got tagged and almost put away.
He did.
It doesn't show up on the Tapology. It doesn't show up on the scorecards, but the guy got almost chinned, and Denise has legit, popping his shots for sure. Maybe more so than McParkin. McParkin, I think, is just a more steady guy. And but I will say, those types of things to look at are important when you're trying to find value. It's like, hey, Tybura won by round 2 doctor stoppage, but when you go back and actually watch the tape and watch the footage, which I don't think most people even do, if we're being honest.
Right.
They watch shows and they look at things and they look at stats and they look at Tapology. Go watch round 1 of that and come back to me and tell me you don't think plus 375 is a decent number on the guy at home with a training partner that knocked him out and is 15 pounds heavier to get a TKO. I'm selling myself even more. I like it even more right now. I'm dialed in. I believe that if Mick Parkin gets it done, the next 2 legs are smacking. This is my scariest leg by far, and it's up first, and I love that about it.
Matty, how much could I criticize nearly 4-1 with a heavyweight KO? And not only that, it's like against a guy who's 10 years older and he's in his home. That's what I mean, is that I wasn't going to come at you. It could have been far worse. Now, there was a KO I preferred. I'll tell you what it is later. But I park in minus 170 here just from a betting perspective. I still think the value is there on this
value at 21.
Yeah, I really do. And by the way, I was dead wrong. Parkin's ranked 13th in this division. You ready for by the way, 14th Taliesin Teixeira, one fight.
To be fair, being ranked 13th at heavyweight is like 27 at lightweight.
Dude, Kennedy is ranked at heavyweight, and Taliesin Teixeira.
I cannot believe Cortez Acosta is 1 spot below Tai Tuivasa. That is a travesty. That is unbelievable. Tai Tuivasa has done, and I'm a fan of Tai Tuivasa. He's entertaining, and he's a guy you want to have a beer with. The fact that that guy is ranked 1 spot ahead of Cortez Acosta, a guy that put homeboy Karate Combat, what's his name, out of the UFC in the Karate Combat, the big monster, Despain, is durable as hell, has won great fights, I cannot believe he's not ranked ahead of Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa has such a deficiency with defensive, with wrestling and takedowns,
everything,
jiu-jitsu and cardio. How do you literally look at I would line Cortez Acosta minus 250 against Tai Tuivasa.
Oh my God. Kennedy and Zechik, who's 15th. Kennedy would be a minus 300, 400 favorite over Tai, right? He's got to be.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, don't you think so? Kennedy's way better.
Tai is way more of a puncher's chance against Kennedy than Cortez Acosta is a terrible matchup for Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah, but Kennedy could also take him down and submit him in the very first round because Kennedy.
Very true. That's a good point.
Like I feel like Kennedy's just a better fighter. Like Ty will always have the right hand.
Right.
But that's
This is not Ty slander. This is called the truth.
it is
If you
for
guys
me.
don't want the truth, don't watch the channel. You know, we talk about this all the time on the Show Me the Money pod. We were talking about Cheeto Vera with Gilbert. That's Gilbert's guy, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I kind of like this guy in that matchup. I forget who we were even talking about because Cheeto Vera's, takedown defense is suspect. And Gilbert's like, oh, you talking shit about about Cheeto Vera. I'm like, bro, Cheeto Vera is one of my favorite fighters, like legitimately. I'm just trying to tell the truth, bro. The hardest thing about this industry, having friends, having relationships, treading carefully on certain things you say. Moicano is a perfect example, bro. I respect Moicano because he will tell me honestly to my face and to Gilbert's face on the podcast and say, if he thinks one of his teammates are going to lose, he will literally say that even though he knows it's being filmed and people are going to see it from his gym. Now, granted, it sucks being in that position. It's like, do you tell the truth and your people hate you or say something, or do you, sugarcoat it, right? Probably sugarcoat it is probably the best way to do it. But long story short, you have to tell the truth. I'm telling the truth. I don't even remember what we were fucking talking about at this point. I'm buzzing these tequila shots, but my point is I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth about the heavyweight division.
We're going to talk about having to be honest with some of your favorite fighters later. One of my favorite guys that has let me down several times is on this card. So how about that for a teaser? Now, Matty, you just took another tequila shot, which is good because I think we've got another cycle leg right back to back. So if we get through that, if Mick Parkin is able to find the hammer, we got this fight here. And it's with a guy that has super well-rounded skills in Lonnie Kavanagh. So if nobody knows yet, you could be going sub, you could be going decision because he's got both in the arsenal. But Kavanagh, very impressive in his UFC debut against a fellow undefeated fighter. I said I thought that was a scary spot for Kavanagh against Jose Ochoa. He showed well, got the decision win. Now this fight against Felipe dos Santos. Matty, why do you like Kavanagh and in which method in this fight? Because he's a minus 310 favorite.
Yeah,
I spoiled it. I gave it away that he's in the
cycle. No, it's all good. Most people know what it is at this point. By the way, what do you love
about this angle?
I believe we're at a new record. So besides when we live stream and I hit the cycle parlay in December, I believe we had 11,000 people live at one time in the chat. Right now we have about 3,000 between Facebook, X, and YouTube. So we appreciate all of you that are tuning in. We know it came from last week. Austin was on a heater. We hit the cycle. Hayden, Nolan are on a heater. Again, guys, please like and subscribe to the YouTube so you get notified every time I put out a play or we go live or we do a show. This fight right here, bro, these odds are way too wide. If you put a gun to my head and say find value, I'm going Felipe dos Santos money line. With all of that said, I'm on the other side in the cycle parlay because what do we talk about every single week? What is our formula for the decision leg? I want very skilled fighters against very durable fighters. And then I want to make sure that the math is good enough, right? So when I looked at this fight, I was praying the leg was good enough. I was hoping it wouldn't be minus 150, minus 160, minus 170. We were just there where we needed to be. What did I get? I think I got minus 120 here. Let me take a look. I got Kavanagh by decision. If Manel Kopp, I know you're not supposed to do MMA math. I get it, but I'm still going to do it right here. This Felipe dos Santos is very durable, but I see him at times making a career out of putting on entertaining fights and coming up just short. And I see that this fight going exactly that way. I see a 29-28 for the favorite here. And I'm putting him in leg 2 of the cycle. Like I said, Mick Parkin is the hardest leg, in my opinion, by KO. If he gets that done, I'm going to feel very good. And then this spot, I'm hoping it goes the distance, and I'm hoping we get a fair judges to bring us home, assuming he does what he needs to do. I actually really like Felipe dos Santos in general. I think he's well-rounded. He's skilled, but he's very hittable.
Yeah.
Very hittable and very durable. How old is this guy?
Just a classic
24.
Classic shoot a box guy, Dos Santos, man.
And this is a problem spot for Kavanagh. I think it's just like they're giving him a guy that they think, he's a little bit more skilled than, but it could be a war. 100% could be a war here. It's not easy. Look at Felipe dos Santos. He's batting 3 for 5 when it goes to distance.
Yeah.
Just over 50%. Whereas Kavanagh's a perfect 8-0. I know, again, Felipe's fought good competition that have gone the distance, but I feel like there's two things we got to look at. Is it going to go the distance? I say yes. Then it's like, can Kavanagh outstrike him or outland him and do enough in the eyes of the judges? I think he will. I think he will do enough. Go watch the tape on this guy. He's so fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to tag this guy left and right, but I believe in Felipe's chin. So lock me in for leg 2 of the cycle. I'll stop you.
Well, I think the reason why we both love Lonnie, why I love him by decision, if you're going to take him, is because great defense, 67% striking defense. Like, he's been so fast, like you said. Really, that's where you see it more so than he had trouble landing on Ochoa. But I fully, in my heart, Matty, believe that Jose Ochoa was better than Felipe dos Santos.
Really?
At this point, dos Santos can't defend a takedown to save his life.
What was the scorecard, Felipe? Because visually, not on that fight, but visually, Felipe versus Manel Kape felt close, but was it really close?
I mean, the numbers were close-ish, but it was 29-28 on 2 cards and 30-27 on another. So the numbers were close. Dos Santos did get dropped in that.
But when you think about that fight visually, Felipe's kind of. I'm talking about the average MMA fan that remembers that fight.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, Felipe is a monster, bro. He kind of gave Manel Kape a run for his money. But did he really, when you go back and look at that fight?
I mean, he's a shoot-em-box guy.
Again, these durable guys, in a way, can like mess with your mindset where you think they're better than they are, but they're just very durable and very entertaining and very excited. And I think that's what Felipe dos Santos is. But the dude's 24 years old. He could be a problem in 3 to 5 years, truthfully.
Yeah. I can we put up the comment from Josh Snyder? People are high on Felipe because Kape fought to his level and went the distance with the kid. To me, that's what you see. Manel Kape plays with his food all the time, and that's what I attributed.
I'm putting Josh in for $50 on the cycle. He's in. Josh, you're fucking in, bro.
That's a great. I think it's a great comment. Whereas to me, I don't think Kavanagh is that far off the top 15. He's very skilled for this division. And I liked Ochoa. I thought he was better. Now I will say, Matty, minus 115 is the number you get on points if they're with you on FanDuel, so it's a little better number.
Right.
I appreciate that, guys, at FanDuel, and then it's kind of a wild card.
We got to give everyone on here. We now hit 3,100 people. We got to give credit where credit is due to FanDuel. The numbers are fantastic for the sport of MMA, for the UFC. We get paid. Austin knows I get paid $0 from FanDuel. I've never made 1 penny in my life from FanDuel, but I love the numbers that they provide for MMA, for the UFC. You will not find better numbers 85% of the time on method of victory. So if you're in a state with FanDuel, I'm just telling you as someone that wants you to get the most value and make the most amount of money possible, you are going to find on method of victories, round props, etc., you're going to get 20-30% better than any other sports book in the U.S., like legitimately. I'm not saying that because Austin works there. I'm saying go look at the numbers. I'm hoping anyone in the chat can we have a lot of sharp guys that watch this show and a lot of like guys that actually bet UFC like semi-professionally, if you will, on this show. You guys can hopefully vouch for that in the chat. You get crazy numbers on FanDuel. There's times where I'll get a submission at plus 750 that's 5-1 everywhere. Do you guys have any idea how big that amount of value is long term when you're a bettor? Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get going in the interest of time here, but no, it's okay. I just feel like the I agree with
your workplace. I'm glazing them.
I don't mind you glazing. I love my employer. They do a lot of great stuff, not only on the betting market, but for me personally. So I don't mind the glazing, but I will. And the eyes peeking comment, but I am going to move on here. I'm going to say Dos Santos defensively liable but durable. That's the formula that we love. I like minus 115 in this spot. Kavanagh points. And by the way, the total in this fight, if you just like either fighter, is minus 225 to go the distance, and I feel good about that. And
that's not a bad number.
I don't put a ton of stock in Kavanagh with the early KO in the Contender Series just because we don't know the level of competition at that point in time. From what we've seen in UFC, I think we're in for a barn burner. And like, I mean, honestly, he goes the distance with Andre Lima. I felt better about Andre Lima as a grappler. I feel better about Andre Lima's finishing danger.
Bro, we didn't even talk about. I know we talked for a second about sub. Andre Lima looked elite everywhere last week. That guy is so fucking good. Yeah, that's the guy that we're gonna literally need to target in his upcoming fights.
I think the big thing is he cleaned up his cardio, you know, and
that's that guy. Like who would you actually like take as a legitimate favorite against him in that division? Because
I mean, we've got to see some. We got to see some stuff. I mean, like maybe the fight to make is him and Josh Van, right? Top prospect.
I saw that on Twitter. Someone posted that and said, "Hey, USC, we're tired of you trying to build prospects and not put them against each other early on." And they were like, "Give us Josh Van versus Andre Lima." Yeah. I'm as big as a Josh Van guy as it gets. Give me Andre Lima because his ground game is better. His ground game is better. He's more well-rounded, but Josh Van has elite boxing. By the way, boys, this comment right here, if the cycle parlay hits, I'm picking 2 YouTube subscribers. Go to YouTube, subscribe right now. If the cycle parlay hits, I'm flying 2 people to the Hard Rock in Florida. This might be the tequila talking, but since I said it, I have to honor it. I'm picking 2 people, and I'm flying them to the Hard Rock. 2 subscribers, so go subscribe.
Yeah, Matty is a man of his word. I like that comment, too. Lima Van, Apex main event. We've had far worse, that's for sure. So, Matty, why don't we move on here? Talk about a near pick him at lightweight. I think this is the featured prelim. This is the featured prelim here. Jai Herbert taking on Chris Padilla. Really interesting fight at 155. I think it's Taco Padilla has outweighed all expectations had for him. Cash is a huge dog against Longshots. Cash is a huge dog against James Yontop. Ended up submitting him in the first round. Herbert's a guy that has gotten some momentum back as well. All of a sudden, you look at the draw against Ludovic Klein, aged pretty darn well. He got our boy Rolando Bedoya out of UFC. Really good stuff from both of these guys lately. So, what do you think about this fight, buddy?
Here's what I think, bro.
Oh, man.
We're going back to back.
Oh, man. Oh,
man. Wait, we don't have a cycle leg here, do we?
No, but someone commented I'm going back to back.
Yeah, I learned
I had to play the Drizzy. YouTube flagged with some copyright bullshit.
I was going to say, you better be careful.
Yeah. What do I think about this fight? Okay. Jai Herbert's more skilled, especially at range. I think Jai Herbert's actually underrated. His losses are against quality guys. Moicano was a bad matchup for him, but look at some of these other fights he's had. He's good. Obviously, we talk about this all the time, Austin. Guys that have big moments against elite fighters tend to be overvalued, but I actually don't even think that's the case with Jai Herbert anymore because I actually think he's good, really fucking good. And Jai Herbert is the guy that notoriously, 20 years from now, he'll be at a bar and he'll be like, "Oh, I head kicked Ilia Topuria and almost knocked him out," and Ilia Topuria will have fucking 6 belts by then, right? But my point is, this guy's actually good, right? And he deserves to be a slight favorite here. But if I got to pick a guy that's going to outdog the other guy, I'm going Taco Padilla here. I think he's very, very I think there's a chance that he could be outclassed, and a lot of people are on the trendy dog side, so there is a chance that Jai Herbert wins a 29-28 or a 30-27 and just looks way better. But if Padilla closes that distance, elbows in the clinch, takedowns, gets on top, full mount, Jai Herbert actually doesn't love to give his back. I was looking at the Padilla sub line.
Oh, yeah.
It is a great number, but go watch every Jai Herbert fight. I spent hours watching all of his fights. Even the Moicano rear naked choke, it basically was a TKO. That fight, if you guys watch it, Moicano beat the brakes off of him or beat the brakes out of him in top position. And then last second choked him out, but the guy was done. He could have threw 1 or 2 more elbows and the ref could have stopped it. It could have been, if it was a different ref, it might have went a different way. Like in all seriousness, if you guys go watch that fight. So there's 2 ways I like this fight. I like Jai Herbert decision.
Okay.
Or I like Padilla by KO. I think that he can make this fight ugly, close the distance, land big shots in the clinch, get the takedowns, and throw big damage on top. I actually think he's going to get a ground and pound TKO here. I put a 2-leg parlay in. I stayed away from the cycle here because I was scared. But I doubled down on our third leg of the cycle, which I won't reveal right now because it's coming up. But Austin, you don't even know this yet, but I bet 2K to win 50K. And I took Padilla KO and I took leg 3 of the cycle. And it's a 2-leg.
Okay.
And I fucking love it.
Okay.
Now, again, I'm going to repeat what I just said. Jai Herbert might outclass him. 100%. It's definitely possible. But I think if you play Padilla here, you're going finish. You're not going money line. I don't think there's any value there. I think he either makes it a dogfight and gets Herbert out of there, or I think he loses two rounds to 1 or 3 rounds to 0.
Yeah.
With the mic.
I like Taco Padilla. He's kind of my guy. I've cashed big on him as a dog, and I feel like he's kind of overperformed maybe a little bit. Okay, Matty's going to UFC Miami. I thought that was kind of a given next month, but I think he's overperformed a little bit. And Herbert is a guy that I've never been super high on, but now I kind of realize that maybe a little bit of it was level of competition driven because he's fought so many killers, because he's fought Moicano on the ground. He fought Ludovic Klein. I'm like, okay, well, maybe contextually watching back even the Faris Zayam fight, right? Faris Zayam is a monster now.
Zayam is like literally a clone of Herbert, just 20% better.
Yeah, and he's a better grappler. Yeah.
Zayam, and dude, that loss has aged well because, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't a blowout of a fight, right?
No, it was a close
look
fight.
how good Zayam has become.
Yeah.
That knee against Frivola, I was there live front row, nasty.
Yeah.
And then even the losses he's in, he looks very good.
Yeah. I mean, and it was a doctor stoppage in the last fight against Rongju. When you look at the non-leg kick distance strikes, it was about even in that fight. I don't have a super high prior on Rongju. I haven't touched this fight because I kind of leaned Herbert and the line's been moving that way. But at the same time, I don't really know what to do with it. Like, Padilla's been my guy. I guess maybe I'll watch and see where it goes. Wouldn't surprise me if Padilla got a dominant ground victory here. Wouldn't surprise me if Herbert outclassed him on the feet.
Do you prefer, because the sub is a little bit juicier, but let's say I got to look at the exact number, but let's say the sub's 5.5 to 1 and the KO's 4.5. Which one do you go? It's very close to that.
It is. A KO's +4, sub is +500. Gosh,
he makes more. I know Padilla choked out James Lontop, but that motherfucker, if you don't choke him out, you ain't finishing him. He's got a Mauricio Ruffi couldn't finish him. I just look at Jai Herbert and I'm like, if he goes to the ground, go watch the tendencies. He really hates to give up his back.
Right, and Padilla's a ground and pound
base beat in, and I'm like, Padilla, he's gonna give you he's gonna take what you give him, and Padilla, the ground and pound here, I can see it. Now again, I only see the fight going 2 ways. I see Jai Herbert. If he's able to stick and move, this unanimous decision. Okay. If he's not, I think Padilla, round 2, 3, TKO on the ground is my prediction.
Yeah, so Herbert KO, I'm just laughing because Herbert KO points is -105. His money line's basically -110. So they're basically giving him no chance at a sub, which I kind of agree with. But like,
say that one more time. I missed it.
So KO decision for Herbert is -105. His money line's basically -110. So it's almost the same. Because that's how little submission equity they think he's gotten. I totally agree with that. So why don't I move on here?
By the way, while you move on and while you do this, do the ad read, do the breakdown. I need 45 seconds. Use the restroom. Be right back, boys.
Okay, very dangerous times as Matty's about to break the seal, but I want to read this for Home of Fight Picks. Home of Fight Picks team has been slapping heads recently, reading it, not mine. Now crossing over 30 units in 2025 alone. This last weekend was the best yet, crossing 15 combined units between Hayden and Nolan, smacking the Roman Delidze money line in the main event. If you want their picks for free, code London. That's right, London gets you 7 days free. It'll get you all the way through Saturday to get their picks free. Again, I want to be very, very clear where I do not sell picks. I am not able to tout other people's picks. It's not what I'm doing here. I will say Nolan and Hayden, I know them both personally, and I respect their UFC expertise. So if you're looking for that sort of service, whatever you want to go for, code London, get you 7 days free, and I respect both of those guys as professionals, and definitely do so as well. So why don't we, Jake, if we could throw that comment up there. Hey, Austin, recap your picks, please. Interesting run through here. I think I'm going to go at Coway Fernandes small. I like Keelan Loughran in that fight. I'm going to play small sprinkles at early KO there. Puja Tomar money line, I think, makes a lot of sense as long as you can still get her north of like that +135 area. I talked myself into a dart on Pulaev. Maybe Pulaev submission, but probably decision. Maybe a double chance ladder there. And then Mick Parkin. I got no choice but to tail my guy Matty. I'm not going to do a method of victory because I hope he gets the
KO. That's you guys realize something right now?
What?
That's what true friendship is. He literally Austin, you bro.
Oh,
Austin leaned Mick Parkin by decision. He saw that Mick Parkin by KO was in the cycle, and he said, "You know what, bro? I'm gonna take the money line." That's true friendship right there. If you guys don't have friends like that, then you have enemies.
It's also a guy that picked Ryan Spann last week and knows that he doesn't know everything. So
I try to warn you, bro. That motherfucker burned me so many times in my life, like so many times.
Honestly,
guy we're gonna talk about on this main card.
I felt like his distance striking last week was embarrassing. So why don't we, before we got the code out there, and we'll move up onto the main event with this fight. I think this is a great fight. Nathaniel Wood taking on Morgan Charrière at featherweight, kind of the old guard versus the new guard. Charrière's got a couple of highlight knockouts, and then at the same time, Nathaniel Wood really keeps chugging along. He got that grinded out a win over Daniel Padilla. We had him by decision in that fight, and like it was some stupid number in that fight for him to win a decision. It was like plus 300. It was crazy.
He almost got that. What did he land? A big left hook?
Yeah, he did. That was a good fight out of him.
He looked great in that fight.
And now the question is, how does it translate to Charrière? This is another line that's closing a little bit. Charrière was minus 178 on Sunday. He is now just minus 144. So, Matty, you and I really haven't talked about this fight a lot. I don't know where you sit on it. So, what do you think about this?
What's your guess? If you had to guess who I'm taking, who would it be?
You tend to like flashy hype trains a little bit more than I do. So I was gonna guess you like Charrière points.
So I actually love Charrière in general.
Yeah.
He's been one of my guys I've actually played a few times. I like his game. I like the fact that he has 10 losses. It's in a weird way. It's weird for me to say that, but he's 20-10 and he's been around the block, right? And I think he's not afraid to lose. He's not afraid to get better. I'll tell you one thing, Nathaniel Wood impressed the hell out of me in that Pineda fight. He looked super sharp. I got to go Nathaniel Wood as a dog here. I think this is a straight pick 'em at worst.
Yeah.
Wood is a dog, and I also, depending on the number, which I'm about to look at right now, I think Nathaniel Wood decision here could feed some families depending on the number here.
I floated it out there. We would have had to reconfigure some stuff in the cycle. Nathaniel Wood decision is plus 190 here. So it would have been on the shorter side, but this fight is so overwhelmingly likely to go the distance on both sides. It's minus 240 to do so, that you're going to get points on both sides.
Holy shit, I got to say something, not to interrupt you, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
Daniel, I just saw this right in a second. When you go back and look at that Pineda fight and you look at the knockdown power and how sharp and how technical, the KO is 9-1. You can't rule that out here. At that number, at 9-1, at that number, you cannot rule that out in this fight. Again, I lean Nathaniel Wood by decision, but the numbers matter. You go from plus 190. I would have hoped that I've gotten 2.5 to 1 on that number here.
Yeah.
And just not where it needs to be, in my opinion. 9-1 here feels like a really crazy number.
Man, if you can correctly guess a finishing outcome here on either side, my hat's off to you, because I don't see a clear path for either of these guys. They're just so good. They're so well-rounded. How about Morgan Charrière? 10 pro losses, 9 of them by decision. A lot of splits.
Right. That's why I was initially going to put Nathaniel in the cycle, bro.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, he was a top 3 option in the decision leg for sure.
You know what's interesting, and we'll get to Jordan Vucenic later on this card. One of the names on here, split decision. Paul Hughes, we know he's really good with Bellator. Some interesting names on the Charrière hit list where he wasn't able to get done. Then Chepe Mariscal, split decision, could have been gone one way or another. So it's like, I think this is a super close fight. I got Wood at plus 150, felt great about the number. I was wrong in that I thought that Wood's money line at plus 150 would be better than his points prop on Friday. It doesn't look like it's going to be unless this line starts closing a little bit further. But English guy, and not only are you talking about the Pineda drop, bro, he dropped Andre Fili, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So Wood really
unanimous decision. That's a good win. I hate the Muhammad Naimov loss. Can you remind me?
I thought it was a robbery, bro.
Okay,
I thought it was a robbery.
I was going to say, can you remind me? I'm like blanking on that fight.
Yeah, and Naimov had a couple of fouls.
That was in October. What's that? Not even 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Naimov had a couple of
October
fouls in that fight. It was a really awkward, clunky fight where I was pretty big on Wood, and maybe I was a little biased, but yeah.
And what do you think about like Nathaniel Wood at 31 in this division?
Yeah.
I feel like this is like right where he needs to be prime wise.
Yep.
Whereas Charrière like 29, like I feel like a few more fights and experience will get him to where he needs to be. I think Nathaniel Wood is I love this play at plus 120, bro.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it. I mean, if you want to sprinkle on those maybe a 2-3 KO, I don't hate that at all because the fact that the KO is 9-1, I gotta look at that. I imagine you're gonna get 20-1 on those 2-3 KO.
I think the problem, bro, is
9-1 round 2 KO, 34-1 round 3. You have to take a look at those, dude.
I think the problem is that Charrière's wins, like his impressive ones, don't do a lot for me. Manolo Zucchini, don't know anything about him. Gabriel Miranda, really bad at distance. He was dropped 3 or 4 times by Benoit Saint Denis as well, and we know Benoit is not the best distance striker in the world. Like, his wins don't do anything for me, and that's the tough part when it comes to taking minus 150 or whatever you're gonna have to lay with him right here.
Yeah, fair enough, bro.
All right.
We're on the same page on this one.
All right. Why don't we –
Did you actually take Nathaniel already on the money line?
I did, yeah.
What number did you get?
Plus 150.
Bro, you're sharp as fuck, bro.
Well, so can I give you an Austin?
In all seriousness, Austin needs more credit on this show. Go join the Home of Fight Discord. Jake, can we please put that link in the YouTube chat? Because Austin consistently – and again, we joke all the time about the closing line value is cursed, right?
Yes,
but
yeah.
Consistently, he's getting 30, 40 points on when he locks in money lines a week in advance. I will admit to all 3,600 people watching right now, my biggest downfall as an MMA bettor is I don't lock shit in early enough. As far as when I see value on money lines a week, 2 weeks out, I just don't do it. It's not my skill set. It's not my strategy, right? It's just not what I enjoy doing.
So,
but Austin consistently is getting crazy closing line value. So if you guys want those plays a week before the fights, 4 days before the fights, 2 weeks, whatever it is, it's literally in the Discord for free. So I don't know, Jake, if you can put that link in there for us. But you guys should go join that Discord for sure.
Yeah, and like, so if people want to know my process, just if you want to do it from like a scientific perspective, I model what I can on Sunday, like after the fights, and I will watch money line. So I've got sides that I want. Now, we got a comment, what is my model on Wood? This is a good example. I do not model a guy that has a sample size as small as Charrière. I need a minimum of 5 fights or 40 octagon minutes, because if I modeled this fight, I think it probably would like Charrière quite a bit because of some of the gaudy statistics he's put forth, right? Yeah. And so I don't have it, but then I know what side I'm going to be on, and then I'm just watching the number. It's like I'll take it early if I think it's going to drop, and sometimes it won't, or I'll just wait. Like, for instance, I've waited on Coway Fernandes this week. I wait, and really the only 2 reasons you should bet a money line in UFC: number 1, you want to beat the move on props or things like that, and number 2 is if you legitimately believe that all 3 outcomes are on the table: a knockout, a decision, or a submission. I find that that's very rarely the case, that it needs to be bet that way. It's really, you should only bet them early, trying to get ahead of the move, or you don't end up betting them at all. Or you just wait. Because, and I'm not afraid of a number moving against the side I like in UFC. We joke all the time. CLV's cursed.
Bro, it like,
yeah.
Can you still to this day, can you explain to me why I got Mauricio Rofi by knockout at such a dog shit number early, and it went all the way down? Or actually, books, like random books would have minus 200 and other books would have minus 110 even. Yeah. Like, we're not afraid of lines moving towards us or away from us, but consistently, again, to reiterate, Austin, when he finds dogs early on Sunday or Monday, he is consistently beating those numbers, and that's what's important as a money line bettor long term on the UFC. Like, he's killing that.
Well, I try, and honestly, I think some of the turnaround I had last year was starting to get more disciplined about that. We'll try to get you guys working. Hey, Matty, I got a working link. Jake will get it in there for us.
Thank you.
All righty. Why don't we move on? Because this is an exciting next fight. It's the fight everybody's waiting for. Of course, there's only one reason why, Matty. Leg 3 of the cycle in this fight. You guys know we have a decision. You know we have a knockout. Matty, who are you taking by sub here? You're not taking Meatball Molly by sub, are you?
Oh, I'm taking Meatball to sub this shit. Nah. Bro, guys, it's 2025, okay? I need all 3,700 of you to look me in the eye right now. If you're betting meatball Molly McCann in 2025, you're dead to me, okay? I'm not talking to you anymore. No, I'm kidding. But here's my philosophy, bro. Austin, I got to ask you with Alexia, because I know Austin is the one that told me to look at this number, and it was top 2 as far as submissions, and I love it now after watching a lot of shit. Could you actually find a lot of tape on Alexia or anyone in the chat right now? Because I had to go through this girl's fucking Instagram reels and YouTube and UFC Fight Pass, and the footage is so limited.
Yeah.
But the eye test is the eye test. We know how Molly McCann loses. I see how physically strong, and I like this girl's technique with her wrestling and her takedowns. And we know what happens when girls get the takedowns and get dominant positions against Molly McCann.
Yeah.
I was blown away. This number was at plus 450. I'm about to see, bro, because I guarantee across every book after that tweet came out, I don't know if we can get that tweet, Jake. I'm going to text it to you or put it in Telegram.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be cool to show it. But what do you think that does? Because you work at FanDuel, bro. You know how this shit works.
Sure.
When a number is plus 450 on a chick by submission, and she literally goes to Twitter and says, Molly, you better tap or go to sleep. What do you think that does to the market in general? Like, generally speaking.
Can I be honest with you? I think outside of our followers that have like kind of like you gave out Tinara sub and they kind of know that as well as like that, I legitimately don't think that those tweets move the line very much. No, not really, because I mean Tinara is still plus 430 for sub on FanDuel right now.
Shit. That was my question because I was about to
yeah. I think it's like we kind of forget how small our community is compared to the betting public at large. And the reality is I think a lot of them don't want anything to do with this fight because you see a minus 200 debuting women's MMA favorite. And by the way, Matty, I only watched the Contender Series fight she had. I didn't watch any of the regional stuff.
So you got there to the submission based off of that fight and the number.
Well, that and the fact that Bruna Brazil just took Molly McCann down 3 times. She controlled her for over 5 minutes. McCann's takedown defense.
I agree. It's both sides, right?
We're absolutely.
At the end of the day, we're taking a calculated risk on this Oleksiejczuk.
Sure.
Because look, this is a little bit disrespectful, but someone commented saying that she's fighting soccer moms. So there is a chance that the competition is low, right? We get that. But again, what is Molly's consistent weakness? If this number was plus 180, we're not playing it. Like 425 on Molly McCann to lose by submission. She's done it 3 times already.
Yeah.
She's done it to fighters where she's been a significant favorite against. What, 2-1, 3-1 favorite? Am I tripping on when I say that?
No, she was like 2-3-1 on Stoliarenko. She was like minus 300, yeah.
And we're now getting, think about this, boys and girls. And again, this is like 3 of the cycle, so hopefully we get to it. We are getting the more physical, stronger fighter. We are getting the favorite, and we are getting her, by her words, the preferred outcome and her strategy at plus 425. Sign me up. I'll be shocked if this is the leg that cooks the cycle. I will be. I think Mick Parkin's the hardest leg. I think that the cycle is going back to back, bro. I really do.
I locked this in at plus 450 when I saw you give it out because I'm like, oh my god, I got to get ahead of whatever Matty's gonna do to this number. But
not to interrupt you, but
do
you think Molly's like actual KO ability and power is overrated because of that?
Spin? A little bit because there was a 3rd round spin against
this girl away. Even on I think if Alexia stood here like this and was like, Molly, throw a big spinning elbow or right hand to my chin, I think she would take it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about how much the weight cut to 115 has drained her power because she's not at 125 anymore. She, if you land flush to the chin. And by the way, she's 34 years old. She's a little bit older. I was optimistic that this going down in weight would help her with her grappling issues, but that hasn't been the case at all. The Brazil fight was arguably her worst performance compared to the opponent. Like Bruna hasn't had any grappling success against anyone else, and she was able to control Molly. I'm worried about the weight cut and Tinara, big, aggressive, physical. By the way, just a lot of output on the Contender Series. 101 significant strikes, 3 takedowns, and a submission attempt. That is a lot of activity in 15 minutes. I love Tinara. And by the way, it is so badass that you are making your debut at women's strawweight, and she comes out and says tap or nap. And we can laugh about
dude.
that.
Love that.
It tells us the game plan. It tells us the game plan, and I think that is a boost in our direction.
There's a reason that I doubled down on her sub. I didn't want to lose the cycle early on and then kick myself when this girl makes it look easy.
Yeah.
If you guys let's do an exercise real quick. If you guys know zero about MMA, look at this fucking graphic on the left of me. Who you taking, bro? Specimen on the right, or you taking the girl on the left? Alexia is gonna fucking take Molly down and find the back. End the story. I'll see you at the counter.
I mean, honestly, it's a strength thing, and
there's a lot of risk in this pick. Like I'm obviously being confident, and you guys, but there's a lot of unknowns for sure.
It's a plus 430 leg.
Sorry, bro. 4.5 to 1. Give me that all day.
Absolutely. I totally agree. All right. Why don't we move on here? Next fight up on the card. Third to last fight. Really compelling sort of pick'em sort of movement in this fight. Now, a short favorite is Gunnar Gunny Nelson, who comes out of the woodwork every once in a while to fight some can. I think he's got a little bit harder than a can, and my guy, Big Mouth Kevin Holland here. Matty, what do you think of this fight here? Holland is a short underdog. He has burned so many people so many times. Is this a matchup where he can get back on track?
I understand everyone in the chat is going to hate what I'm about to say because they're going to remember that I got my head slapped betting on Kevin Holland in his last fight. I bet on Kevin Holland against Wonder Boy as well. The guy drives me fucking crazy. I commented on his Instagram before his last fight, and I said, brother, I'm betting on you. And I said, I'm betting big on you, or something along those lines. He responded and said something along the lines of, I'm betting 2 pennies and a Snickers or some shit. Something Kevin Holland would say, right?
Yeah. Here's
what I'll say to everyone. And I said this on the Show Me the Money pod. Kevin Holland is a semi-elite fighter at 170, and he's an undersized, mediocre fighter at 185. Gunnar Nelson is not Rainer de Ritter. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's not even close.
But Gunnar Nelson is also very durable historically. So that's why this fight's confusing to me. Okay. I will say one thing. Kevin Holland should not be a dog. This is a buy low spot. 10 times out of 10. Gunnar Nelson money line is definitely not the side. He is his fucking foot, his style on the feet is a terrible stylistic matchup against Kevin Holland. He fights like he's Wonder Boy, the way he moves on the feet with that karate style, and but he's not Wonder Boy. He's a grappler. Kevin Holland could land a big straight right down the middle. Kevin Holland could beat the shit out of that lead leg easily. It just comes down to, is Kevin Holland going to do something stupid? Is he going to do something dumb that gets him caught? I don't think he will. I think even a guy like Kevin Holland, who literally doesn't care about winning and only cares about money and entertainment, understands that he cannot lose this fight, bro.
Yeah.
Guy fights once or twice every year or two. Once every year or two. He cannot. Kevin Holland, even though he's a fan favorite, if he comes out and gets subbed in round 1 here, would the UFC look at cutting him? What do you think? I don't think do it, but at some point you have to fucking win, bro. You have to win at some point. This is at 170, so we know he's going to be in shape, right? Because he has to make the weight.
Yep.
And he's going to come out, and he should be able to land big leg kicks and throw big right hands down the middle. And he should be able to win this fight on the scorecards or by TKO. I'm going Kevin Holland as a dog here, but it's hard to trust him. There's a reason I left him out of the cycle.
Yeah, I love Holland inside the distance here, man. And that's your guy.
I hope you guys saw my boy DJ. He's tuned in.
The parking ticket.
I want you guys to go to his YouTube and tell him he's a peasant right now. But I went on his phone. If you guys don't know the story, I'll keep it very quick because I don't need to move on. I went on his phone when we went out for drinks, and I bet the cycle parlay last week 1,000 to win 26,000 out of his account, and it hit for 26,000. And here he is talking shit, bro. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, I think it may have been a very different tune if it was any of our other cycles, but I digress.
That's my boy. That's his. He's a sarcastic prick. I love him. We have a love-hate relationship. but he can never say shit to me again because I could lose 25 in a row and he's still up money and tipping my picks, bro.
Okay. I love Holland inside the distance here. I not only think he's such a powerful, athletic dude at 170. This is where he needs to be. I tweeted out the splits of Kevin Holland with his win-loss record and his takedown defense at 170. Like the knucklehead he is, he says he's not committing to 170 long term. He can only fight at 185 if he's going to fight someone that doesn't take him down, and that's very, very few.
Buckley at 170. Look how well that's aged.
Yeah. Like I honestly, if Holland wins this fight, wins another 170, he could get the Buckley rematch, and he could win it, and he could be back in the top 10 if he could, you know. But
that would be crazy when you think
that would be taking it seriously, which you can't always trust him to do. But
let me ask you a question before we move on, because you said you like him inside the distance here, but
yeah.
Gunnar Nelson, 0 losses by sub, 1 loss by KO. You don't lean money line here.
Well, I mean, I played the money line, but at the end of the day, I look at Nelson, and he seems to me like a shell of the guy that accumulated those records. He had the decision win against Takashi Sato, and then Brian Barberena, he subbed in the first round. Those were gifts. Those were freebies. Those are
honestly, because also his one knockout loss was 2017. Holy shit. This guy never fights, bro.
Yeah.
It is a red flag that he is just, to be fair, to credit to him, he's an unselfish guy. His career right now is just about helping other guys in his gym, fighters. There's a very significant chance he could come out here and Kevin Holland could look 300.
Hey, Matty, Leon Edwards dropped Nelson. Rick Story dropped Nelson. Ponzinibbio obviously knocked him out. I don't think the chin is as good as that win-loss record.
This comment right here, bro. Go watch footage on Gunnar Nelson. The way that his stance is when he strikes, 9-inch reach advantage. Yeah. I hope I can clip this and be right about it, but I'm telling you, a 2 down the middle from Kevin Holland, he could find the chin.
I like early here. I really do. I feel like Kevin Holland, he will go on these losing skids, but then he will take a fight he knows he can win, and he knows he can finish. And I just
round one, very good. See the number.
Yeah,
see the number.
I just play round one. I'm telling you, Matty, if I bet,
I ain't taking him to sub this guy. Round 1 KO. He would be crazy. I think Chiesa was an anomaly because Michael Chiesa consistently gave up that front choke, that Darce choke, right? Gunnar Nelson, I'll take my chances. I feel the same way about the fighting nerds when I bet these fighting nerds by knockout. I feel the same way here with Kevin Holland.
Those are long wins.
That's fine. I'll take my loss, but Gunnar Nelson, 0 losses by sub. Kevin Holland does not even want to fuck around with any grappling in this fight because if he does and makes a mistake, he can get caught. He needs to knock this guy out. And I think round 1 knockout, I think you're onto something here. I'm going to play it on my card. We're going to get round 1 KO TKO at +600. I'm going to the counter right now after this show to bet that shit.
I love Holland early. Now
that is a crazy number.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, round 1 is +480. Isn't that good enough? Is that good enough?
Ponzinibbio knocked him out in round 1. This is a crazy number.
It is. I just am
a buy low spot. We're gonna clip this. Kevin Holland, round 1, KO TKO, +600, buy low spot, UFC prop of the century. You guys go run to the counter and put that in. 6-1 is insane for this style.
Play the round. Play the round, everybody. Play the round. I'm telling you. It's +480 is round 1. Play the round.
It's the better can decide.
I'm telling you what the smart decision is. So we'll move forward here. Okay, I know these guys have been with us for a bit, so why don't we move on so we can get building? But you guys are trying to get me in trouble, man. Carlos Ulberg taking on Jan Błachowicz is our light heavyweight co-main event. Matty and I are a little bit split on this fight because we were talking about it a little bit.
I don't know that we are. We'll see.
Okay.
Back and forth on this one.
It is a tough fight because you have Jan's experience and his championship pedigree and generally good durability against City Kickboxing's new hot kid, right? But he lost a little bit of steam. He goes the full distance against Volkan Oezdemir, wasn't knocking everybody out.
Did we miss Jordan Vucenic?
We may not have a slide, but we can circle back and look at it.
Let's do it right after this one, bro.
Okay. All right. Why don't we talk Ulberg Błachowicz real quick and then we'll circle back to Vucenic Duncan.
Yeah. Good. Oh, you're on me? Okay.
I'm throwing it to you.
Yeah, no, thank you. All right, a couple things on this fight. There is a chance Jan Błachowicz has like a Glover Teixeira-esque 42-year-old run at light heavyweight, right? The guy's got that Polish power. He's got some grappling. He's a tough fight for anyone in the top 5 or 10. Like, this whole division, he's a very difficult fight for. So a part of me wanted to take a dog shot here. A part of me looked at that Poatan fight and saw him get the back early and nearly set a rear naked choke in, and question, is 17-1 enough value to get this to sprinkle on the sub against a kickboxer in Carlos Oldberg? I almost got there. We'll see if I get there tomorrow or not.
Yeah.
When I build my card. I think Austin even mentioned, like, hey, what about a sub on either side here? Right? I don't know that. I know Błachowicz obviously was subbed by Glover Teixeira, but has he been subbed otherwise?
Not in my memory. Maybe long ago. But
I'm a fan of Jan Błachowicz. I like his fight style. He's 42. We just don't know what we're going to get out of this fight. You know, he literally has not fought since July 20th
fight.
That's what, over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, he was 40 and a half years old. He was basically 40 years old when he fought Poatan. Now he's 42. It's like, what are we going to get out of him here? Has he just been preparing this whole time?
Surgery.
With one surgery. Well, I know the surgery, but with one big finish here, he's right back in the mix. Because Carlos Oldberg is a guy that is very well respected, you know, in this division. I'm very torn in this fight. My original read, as I told Austin over text, I was hoping to get a good number, and I couldn't. I am getting deja vu on this fight where Poatan was able to – he was getting taken down, but he stayed safe, and he landed more damage, and he won 2 rounds to 1. And I rewatched that fight 3 times. It was not a robbery. Poatan clearly won rounds 2 and 3 with damage, and he lost round 1 because he nearly got submitted. And I have deja vu on this fight. This fight is a very similar matchup to Poatan versus Błachowicz. It's Oldberg versus Błachowicz, very similar. I was hoping to get like 4-1, 3-1 on the Oldberg decision. It was like plus 170. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. I don't really have a read on this, bro. No numbers have stuck out to me, so I'm interested to hear what you're playing here.
Yeah, so my model's been quiet tonight because, like, I only had 4 fights on this card I could model. We talked about Mick a little bit. I've overruled the Kevin Holland stuff because so much of it is messed up at 185 for him that it's like he's like a totally different guy, but I don't change sample sizes. I love its angle here. I love Carlos Oldberg by KO. This feels like a changing of the guard to me. Now, I will say,
what's the number?
So the KO for Oldberg in this fight is I guarantee I'm going to show value on it. So it is plus
180, I think.
Plus 175. And I've got it. If I can do a little bit, I've got it plus 118.
What do you think? How do you think he gets it? Is it a shot to the face? Is it like something dynamic? Because Błachowicz is very durable, bro.
Yeah. I do think that he can hurt Jan at distance, like a hook that lands well, maybe an uppercut, something like that. He's very tricky, and the thing with Oldberg is he's also super high volume, 7.20 significant strikes landed per minute. And I will say I'm kind of biased, but also not at the same time. The reason I bet Oldberg to be light heavyweight champ at the end of the year at plus 30 to 1, pretty much 30 to 1, is because my model thinks he's the best light heavyweight in the world. And that's because it looks at his striking volume. It looks at his takedown defense. It looks at he has the more recent submission of these two. Dawoon Jung, he submitted him in the 3rd round. Remember, they went to replay and saw the tap and then gave him the sub. So I love Oldberg in this spot. And like Jan is a guy that has treated me well historically, but I thought he looked kind of old in that Pereira fight, that he really struggled to latch onto distance. The cardio wasn't great. Oldberg is coming off a fast, active 3-round fight against Özdemir where I thought he did really well. Interesting that there's so much Jan love in this chat. We've seen older guys have success at
I'll tell you what, bro.
Recently.
Weird vibes on just the amount of people, just even in the chat right now and in general that I've seen on social media and texting me. Like, he is a popular dog, and what do the UFC want right now? They want their nice little shiny toy at light heavyweight.
Yes.
Especially after Poatan losing to Magomed. You might be onto something here.
I
just wish the number was better, bro. I really do.
Yeah, I got plus 200 when we were talking about it.
What do you think about a 2-3 KO for Oldberg here?
I haven't decided.
Do you think he starches Jan in round 1? Because Jan, his KO loss was in round 3 against Thiago Santos.
Yep.
And then his other one, I don't even see on Tapology. I don't know when it was from. Probably a long time ago. He's very durable, but I can see a 2-3 for Olberg here.
Yeah, I haven't decided if I want to go early or late yet. And like, yeah, everything about Jan says later because he's been so durable, good striking defense, 53%, even though that's not great. But like, I just have a gut feeling that Jan, off these layoffs, Olberg, so long, athletic. I mean, the dude was basically on The Bachelor in Australia. This is the type of guy UFC wants to fight for the title. I kind of
needed a face on a takedown attempt.
Yeah.
Bro, round 2s by knockout for Carlos Olberg, 8-1, and round 3, 12-1. How do you not sprinkle on those? I think
so. Round 1's the shortest.
4-1. I think you sold me on 2-3 KO. I got myself there based off of your analysis and based off. This is more of an intuition play for me. It just feels like this is like the changing of the guard. Poaton's not the champ. Jan's 42. Olberg's the new shiny toy. I can almost see a 2 or 3 KO at those numbers. I kind of feel like I'm going to sprinkle on them.
2 feels right. Like 2 feels right. But the thing I will say, if Olberg wants to deny a Poaton rematch, round 1 KO here would not hurt his argument. That's all I'm going to say is that I throw it out there from an aggression perspective from him. Matty, I respect you so much. If you end up playing 2-3
rematch,
if he wants to deny a Poaton rematch, how about a first round knockout here and say it's actually mine?
Yeah, Poaton's getting that rematch.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's got no shot. To
probably, definitely. I can't see unless he gets hurt or something.
Yeah,
like the UFC knows that Poaton's their cash cow, bro. There's no chance.
Yeah.
Who do you have in that, by the way? And I don't want to waste time, but who do you have in that?
I would take Ankalaev in the rematch. I think it'll only get worse.
At what number, though? Minus 150?
Everybody's got a number. I'll see what my model says.
Right.
How about that? All right. How about before we go on to the main event, let me circle back here because I've got Jay, could you throw that up there? I've got Vucenic Duncan queued up.
Oh, my bad. I forgot about this one.
Because whoa, that was quick work. Great work, guys. Getting the slide put together for us. Yeah. That's why we got the best team in the business right here. Chris Duncan taking on Jordan Vucenic, man. A lot of tats in this fight. Look at that. Pound for pound tat.
Oh, is this the most tatted fight of all time?
It might be the most tatted fight of all time between these two, but interesting betting line here where I could be talked into both sides because Vucenic was so impressive in his debut on short notice against Kutateladze. But also Chris Duncan's a guy that just keeps winning. He keeps winning and winning and winning in UFC. Got another submission of Balaji Oki in his last fight. So, Matty, are you with the second Chris Duncan we've seen on the card or Vucenic as a favorite doing good for you?
This fight right here is the most torn I am on any fight on the card. And it's surprising because the odds are wide.
Yeah.
But I'm just high on both guys. I see Chris Duncan at American Top Team. I see how much work he's putting in, how much he's improved, how good he looked in the last fight, the grappling, everything. But I feel like this is just a hard fucking matchup, bro.
It is.
I feel like, and I don't know that I trust his chin either. I think Vucenic could finish him early. My heart wants to take Chris Duncan. I feel like the guy deserves it. He's worked his ass off. He's improved. He's with the right team now and coaching. I'll tell you one thing I love, and I want to see what your thoughts are on a leg because we haven't even talked much about the safe parlay.
Right.
This 180, this fight to not go the distance.
Yeah.
I love it. I fucking love it. I want to hammer that. Minus 180. If Chris Duncan pulls this off, I think it's going to be finished, and I think that his chin could not hold up as well. I like both sides to have a chance to get a significant finish here. Yeah. Minus 180 feels really nice to me in this matchup. It's going to be violence.
I am so glad we talked about this fight, Matty, because like I had the same very strong lean here is that I think it is going to be violent. Duncan's a guy that he'll put himself out there. I mean, see, Duncan's got a 48% striking defense. He was dropped by Slava Claus and knocked out on the Contender Series.
And that hasn't aged that well, to be honest.
No. And I think the Oki sub was a surprising out for him. He was submitted quickly by Manuel Torres. I think Vucenic is the real deal, bro. Now, the only thing is Vucenic doesn't seem to have a lot of power, which I think the guy that's going to beat Duncan convincingly is going to be a guy that cracks. But I do think he could submit him early here. I had Vucenic round 1-2 circled. It's not even that hard to play. It's So Vucenic round 1-2 is plus 125. I think that's a good number if you like him. If you like him at minus 455, it's probably early, because if this gets late and Duncan is able to secure a late takedown, I'd really be sweating this money line. I like violence here, Matty, and I like Vucenic early.
Can I sell you on a quick 2-legger real quick?
Is this for the safe parlay or what?
No, this is just an 8. This is a plus
what
8
do you like?
parlay.
What do you like?
Fight to not go the distance in this one right here, Vucenic versus Chris Duncan.
Yep.
Parlayed with Kevin Hahn, round 1 finish. 100 pays 850.
Wow, interesting parlay,
Tell
bro.
me that's not slapping.
How did you? What even made you want to put those together? Your brain works so.
That's fucking slapping, bro. That is slapping. I'm taking it. I swear to God, right when I get off this show, I'm going downstairs and taking this.
If you take round 1 only, it's got Austin's signature of approval, and I think we do have to look here for the safe.
Plus 500 round 1 finish. I'm sold. I won't touch the KO at that.
I kind of like if Vucenic isn't able to get him out of there early, maybe Duncan, maybe he gasses out trying to finish him or something like that.
Cody thinks my 2-leg is horrible. Cody Ghost. I invite you, Cody Ghost, onto the Longshots only show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I will see you there. We can hear your plays since mine are horrible.
Okay. How about an open invitation? By the way, we got horrible and then that slapping. So we got those consecutively. The duality of our audience. But why don't we move on here? Go to the main event and talk about one of London's own.
Let's go.
Alrighty. So Leon Rocky Edwards loses his title against Bilal Muhammad. You and I both on Bilal around plus 200 in that fight, by the way. Right. Now he's kind of dropped here. This weird purgatory of like when a guy loses his belt and he's now got to go fight in a main event somewhere, be a contender fight. It only gets weirder when he was supposed to fight Jack Della. Now Jack Della's going to actually fight for the title. And in steps Philly's Sean Brady. And odds makers have a weird amount of confidence in Brady on short notice. He's minus 166 against his guy as good as Rocky. Matty, we kept this out of the cycle. We haven't really talked about it a lot with each other this week. I have a pretty clear way I want to play it. I'm curious what you think about this fight.
This fight has my head spinning, bro. I don't see a lot of value on this main event. There's a lot of question marks. I'll tell you what, I'm still not sold on Sean Brady's striking.
Okay.
He can win minutes with his striking, but I just don't see the finishing upside or the ability to hurt anybody with his striking. Even when Gilbert fought him and didn't look like the Gilbert Burns we know and love.
Yeah.
Gilbert wasn't damaged at all, bro. I saw him fucking 2 days later. It's like he didn't even fight. And that's no disrespect to Sean Brady because the dude's an elite grappler and I think has a legit chance to win this fight. But he just doesn't inflict damage on the feet the way we would want to see. And Leon is elite when it comes to just, striking at range. I mean, he's very good. With all that said, I do think that Sean Brady isn't as good as Bilal when it comes to getting takedowns, but I think he's better than Bilal as far as controlling on the ground and seeking submissions. And I think that's how he wins this fight. I could not put Sean Brady by decision in the cycle. I could not put Sean Brady by submission in the cycle because I'm a little bit torn here. My gut is telling me Sean Brady wins by decision with control time, 3 rounds to 2. That's my final answer. Yeah. I don't remember, though.
Edwards is he seems so hard to stop at this point, right? Like he's only ever been quote unquote finished once. It was a DQ, so he's really never been finished. And like the Kamaru Usman fight pretty much went all 15 minutes or 25 minutes both times. We had the head kick mixed in there. But then he goes 25 with Bilal, where Bilal was really all over him in those spots. And I don't really think there was a spot where he was in danger of being finished in that.
Bilal, you mean?
No, Leon against Bilal. Yeah.
Bro, if anything, Bilal was in more danger. Now, Bilal dominantly won the fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we need to give him credit for that because it was not a robbery. He looked great. He looked phenomenal. But Leon had Bilal's back. Yeah. Leon also landed big ground and pound at the end of round 5. So there's something to be said about that. But Sean Brady is very good on the ground with control and seeking submissions. He's not going to make mistakes down there.
Yeah.
Leon also doesn't make mistakes down there, which is why I think Sean, this is another Kutateladze spot where I think we're just getting the more well-rounded guy against a historically durable guy.
Yeah.
To win by decision. But
yeah. I
what
mean,
is the number? Plus 150, plus 170?
It's plus 170, so it's okay.
Yeah, I might play it, maybe. I don't even like it.
Yeah, I've got it plus 163, so I'm almost right in line with odds makers.
Right.
And like the thing that is difficult for me with Brady, or I should say, what is different about why he got stuck at distance against Belal Muhammad is Muhammad has the best analytical takedown defense at 170 of anybody. Anybody in out of the rankings.
It's a bad matchup for him, right?
It is a horrible matchup for Brady. Edwards is just 65%, and we've seen him taken down a ton in recent fights. I mentioned the 9 against Belal, but also people forget just how easy Kamaru Usman made it look in Usman 1. He got 5 of them. Usman got 4 takedowns in the second fight. Really, the worst performer against him in that regard recently was Colby. He got 2 of, I think it was 12, 14, something like that. But Colby looks washed and has the last 2 times he's been in there. I think Brady is going to secure 4, 5, 6 takedowns here. Maybe Edwards is able to keep his feet a round or 2 late, but I like Brady round 4 or 5 decision here. It's plus 125. Feels like a solid number for him to maybe eventually wilts Leon under the pressure, but Leon really isn't going anywhere very quickly. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a BJJ black belt himself. I know maybe I'm shaving sense off. I don't have to from the decision, but I think there's just something in my gut. I want to get that late finish just in case, because Leon has spent a lot of time on bottom without getting finished. It's not typically the way it works. So
Leon has not faced a submission grappler like this at all.
Yeah.
Who is even comparable?
Yeah, because like Belal and Usman are not really BJJ players.
Belal's a wrestler with elite cardio and pace. It's a totally different matchup, even though it's both grapplers. I need to actually look now. I'm curious.
I mean, Gunnar's there. Didn't get a submission attempt off. Split decision.
Leon, yeah. I mean, I just think that Kamaru and Belal are more similar versus Sean Brady. It's just a different style. Here's what I'll say. You got me looking at 3, 4, 5 sub for Sean Brady. I'm really considering it. If he's just relentless and the cardio and the pace is there. And Leon, bro, is there a chance Leon's a little bit overrated?
I think there's a lot of a chance.
He has hurt him. Kamaru Usman pretty much won almost 2 fights, minus the head kick and minus a round in the second fight.
Yeah.
And I had Leon Edwards in that second fight,
against
Tomorrow. So, and I don't want to be like, when I say overrated, I think he's still very good. I just think the general public, where they perceive him, he loses minutes on the feet.
Yes.
Not aggressive. He really doesn't have crazy power. He has some nice head kicks, but some nice kicks. He's some vicious kicks. He's a guy that's going to put your lights out with the right hand,
Yeah, so I tweeted he became my model's weakest champion in the model era when he won against Usman. Now, I will say analytically, he actually had good performance in the second Usman fight that bumped him up a little bit. But the Belal Muhammad fight was not. I'm sorry, Belal. I get in so much trouble with the audience for that, but that was not a generally surprising thing to me, because Leon is always a guy that has struggled to keep his feet. And when you're talking about that matchup with Sean Brady, I'm getting the feeling that we need to see Jack Della against Sean Brady for a number 1 contender fight with Belal. And it'll be interesting what my model result is and how we feel about Jack Della and Belal. But it feels like those two are on a trajectory course where I kind of like Jack Della against Sean, but this particular matchup to me favors Brady.
Yeah. It's a very confusing division to me.
It is a very weird division.
Anyone else feel that way? Like, I just feel like it's very confusing.
It feels like Belal wins it on cardio and effort, and it's just the weirdest thing, because I don't feel like he's particularly talented, but you got to respect the hustle.
Hey, you have to respect what that man has accomplished.
Yep.
Bro, he rattled off how many wins in a row.
Yep.
The UFC, let's be honest, did not want to give him that shot. If that's Paddy Pimblett, he had the title shot 5 fights before Belal.
Yeah.
If that's an exciting guy in another division, he has the title shot early. we joke on the pod. It's like if Paddy wins one more fight, is he already in a contenders fight? Like we know that the UFC is a business, right?
Yeah.
Bilal did it the hard way. Like he made it up the rankings. He won a million fights in a row, and he earned that title shot. And he won fair and square against Leon. I just think Sean Brady will be able to control Leon on the ground, and Leon will be able to play it safe. But there is a chance that Leon over time could get frustrated if that happens, and that's why I'm like lean the 3-4-5 sub. I'm going to keep this out of the cycle and other stuff, but I would consider a quarter unit sprinkle or a 0.2 unit sprinkle on 3-4-5 sub for Sean Brady here.
Yeah, sure.
That's my angle.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's why I'm taking 4.
Decision number doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
It's not enough. It's just not enough. I need plus 250 or something.
I mean, at this point, you need at least 2-1 to get your juices flowing, right? I mean, no, all the wins and everything. You got $1,000
these numbers here. Sean Brady round 3 submission plus 2,300, round 4 plus 2,800, round 5 plus 3,100. So
interesting.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. All right, Matty, we know what your cycle parlay is. Why don't we try to build a safe parlay and get on our way here?
You know my list. My leg if I have a vote.
I like Vucenic. Duncan doesn't go the distance, minus 182. That fight screams barn burner. Now, what I was going to ask you, what do you think about Wood Charrière does go, as the second leg would put us at plus 119?
So what's the number?
It's plus 119.
I like it. Nathaniel Wood actually scares me.
You like the finish, yeah.
No, I don't. I just like the 9-1. So, but I don't. I think Nathaniel Wood's going to win by decision. So I'm not opposed to it. Let me put it to you that way.
I'm taking a peek. Maybe we can do this smarter. Let's see. I'm looking at maybe.
Do we have a money line favorite we really like? Mick Parkin, dude. Let's call it a day.
That's a little.
Mick Parkin money line and violence bet. To me, that's a no-brainer, but it's your call.
Let me think about
Yeah.
what I want to do from a money line perspective.
Take 30 seconds because I broke the seal, bro. My bad.
I told you it's never a good idea. Yeah, Parkin's a little bit dicier than I would want to hope for a safe parlay per se. Boy, it is not a good safe parlay week. As I'm looking at the particular money lines and things like that. I could throw Brady money line in there and see what Matty thinks about that. Puja money line's not a safe parlay angle. We got a Puja comment. Taka. I like her. I think I lean Herbert. I don't have a strong lean in that particular fight. I don't think Mick is safe. I don't think Herbert is safe. I like Keelan Loughran not going in the safe parlay. I don't feel good about Duncan. Honestly, Matty's guy Lonnie Kavanagh is probably the money line that stands out to me, minus 290. I think that's an affordable price. Matty, I wanted to get your thoughts on if we do a money line in here, because I don't love any of the totals. Brady money line is a consideration. Do you think Leon's got a path to win?
Of course. He deserves that respect. I personally don't like the main event at all in the safety parlay.
Yeah.
Really executive.
I was going to say, what do you think about just putting Kavanagh money line in there then?
I was thinking about my preference would be either Kevin Holland. I know that's crazy to put in the safety parlay.
You know what, dude? I am going to do it because I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I said all week Kevin Holland should be like a minus 150.
At the end of the day, with Kevin Holland, you either believe in a buy low spot or you just don't believe in the guy in general. If you're a value bettor in MMA, this is at 170. It's against a one-dimensional guy, and Kevin Holland's back is against the wall. You have to trust that he's going to get it done. He could look so stupid. We know the risk, but he should not be an underdog at 170.
This is the Kevin Holland. This is the Kevin Holland avoids unemployment safe parlay. It's we're doing it. It's a little higher than we usually do. It's plus 216, but we're going to go Vucenic Duncan.
Did you see Kevin Holland's post, by the way, or tweet?
About what?
So I'm summarizing or I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember it word for word. Long story short, he's like, hey, I own my fan base. a win and to take this serious and get it done. You know, so
Okay.
No, look again. You either buy into this shit or you don't. With fighters, what they say, same concept of Alexia, what she said, which we love, by the way. But look, bro, it's at 170. Gunnar Nelson fights once every year or two. If he loses this fight, he's a fight away from being in danger of his job, no matter how entertaining he is. I'm sorry.
I forgot my responsible gaming say. I got to put safe parlay in quotes, bro. I got to put it safe. It's safe parlay in quotation marks. It's always a joke. Hey, all right. So let's throw Matty. Can we have Matty cycle up there too?
Okay. I just tried to delete it.
There we go. Okay, so there's Matty's cycle. If you missed it already from his videos and things like that. Wait, who banned?
Bro, that's what I said. I tried to delete it and I fucking banned you, dude.
You banned me from my own chat, bro.
Bro, how do I fix it? Jake, help me, bro.
Can you still throw my comment up there, though?
I can. Right there.
Yeah, okay. There we go. So there's the safe parlay. Matty's cycle above it. We are 2 hours deep, and Matty's quite a few alcoholic beverages into the evening as well. So I think it's time to call it a day. Check up on these March Madness scores. Thank you guys so much for joining us. 13 fights in the till for UFC London. I'm pretty sure we got a show next week, right? I'm not mistaken there. We've had a show every week for a long time now. I'm taking a look.
It feels like a break is coming.
Yeah. How about this? Mexico City, Brandon Moreno, Steve Ursig next week. So
yeah.
That'll be a good one to talk about as well. Can't wait until we then. Matty, take care, bud. Hope all your bets cash. Hope we hit another cycle parlay. Until next time, guys, take care.
Guys, got to say, last thing. Don't end the stream yet. 4,600 viewers right now. We appreciate every single one of you. I think that's a record for the breakdown show, at least. Please go like and subscribe on the YouTube. You'll get notified every time we go live and every time we give out predictions. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, or 8:30. Is it what 8 p.m. Eastern? The Longshots only show with myself and Hey Jive. If you're talking shit in the chat, come and give us the picks. Okay, you can't talk shit and not give picks. You got to back up your shit. Come on over tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, on my channel, and we have the same consistent people that come on every week. These guys are sharp. I'm telling you, a guy hit a 45-1 decision parlay on the show. I mean, guys are 2 minutes away. Another parlay was 2 minutes away from an Andre Lima decision from another 50-1. I mean, the guys are crushing it on this show. So come back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
All righty. Sounds good.